just the head. The head by itself is a penalty. If you wanted to change it, that would be like in the IIHF. That's probably a penalty at the Olympics. That's probably at the World Juniors. That guy's gone and suspended. I ask you, do you want that?
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
The only two players in the history of the National Hockey League to have 600 goals, 1,600 points, 3 Stanley Cups, and 2 Conn Smythes. Wayne and Sid. Just it absolutely blows your mind how good Sidney Crosby is and how much we take him for granted.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. Under review.
Avalanche goaltending sucks. There's no other way around it. They have the worst team save percentage in the National Hockey League. Oh, sure, they can score goals, but they can't prevent them. And this is why I don't take the Avalanche seriously as a Stanley Cup contender, no matter how top-heavy they are with future Hall of Famers. Their goaltending's bad.
Under review with Mick Kern, 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The UEFA Champions League is back on SiriusXM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on SiriusXM FC 157 and the all-new SiriusXM app. The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Tonight, facing Sidney Crosby and the Penguins, here's Simon Benoit defending Sid the Kid.
Defend Sidney Crosby. He's been in the league for so long. Everybody knows who he is, right? Everybody knows how good he is. As a D-man standpoint, I think you just have to contain him, not give him those grade A chances, and be hard on him when you can.
Where do you feel your game's at right now?
Just always building on it. It's a long season, so you always try to improve yourself, try to improve your the areas that you have some difficulties in. And for me, I think I'm just trying to, like I said, build on what I'm doing good and just playing hard every night.
We all know what Chris Canada can do in a defending point of view, but what did you make of that pass he sent John?
No, that was a really quick up play, heads up play. That's a good pass. Tanny's a great player. I know everybody praise him for his defensive abilities, but he also has some offensive abilities, and that was just one of those good passes that he can make.
What have you learned about guys like Meyer and Rafai at the time that they've been?
Sorry, can you repeat?
What have you learned about guys like Phil Myers and Martian Rafai at the time that they've been?
Those two guys work really hard. I know Marsh. I trained with Marsh during the summers. He works really, really hard. He's an example that he's been working really hard to be where he is right now. I'm sure he'll get another chance to play this season eventually. He's on the ice, first on the ice, the last one to get out. It's just like work ethics.
Yeah, just defending Crosby. Does it ever get old for you, the opportunity to go up against players that you would have watched considerably growing up?
Oh, it's always fun. As a D-man, it's always fun to play against those players. It just gives a challenge, right? My goal is not to let him score, not to let him through. So playing against him, it's always fun. I wouldn't say it gets old. It's just always fun. That's why we play hockey, right? It's all about the game.
What have you learned about managing your body on back-to-backs and the challenge of back-to-backs the more you've been in the league?
In my type of game, I can't really manage my body. I'm going hard every single shift, so it's just playing with the tiredness, I guess. We still get our rest, we get to the hotel, we sleep, no morning skates, we just rest until tonight. And when you get out there, you just leave everything on the table, right? Well, we don't play until 4 days from now, so it's just going to be a grind, but it's part of the game.
Simon Benoit. So, Dave, we're going to spend some time on Crosby, but before we do that, the breaking story is, and they're doing their warm-ups, Alex Nylander is in tonight, which means Robertson is out. So that third line would be Minton, Holmberg, and Alex Nylander. And, quite frankly, now that I look at that, if you've got a young player and you pretty well benched him in the third period because he wasn't playing well the night before, the odds of him playing the next night would be somewhere between slim and none in my book. So I agree with that.
Yeah, exactly. And then same, we had heard that Nikita Grabenkin was going to be out of the lineup tonight, which he is. Nick Robertson following him up to the press box where Alex Nylander will come down. And, of course, Alex Nylander had spent the last 2 games in the press box as a healthy scratch. So he'll get a chance to make a show tonight in Pittsburgh. And I think it makes sense given how Craig Barube essentially kicked Grabenkin and Robertson to the end of the bench and said, "Don't bother me. You won't be needed for the rest of this game." Last night against the Capitals.
Yeah, message received now with the popcorn. So let's go back to Crosby. I mean, it's hard to imagine that they would ever trade him because he is the franchise and he's always been friendly with the finances. I mean, those deals where he could have made a lot more. But don't you think at some point, it just makes sense to move him maybe in his last year? I don't know if emotionally he would be there, but at some point it would make some sense. He's always going to be remembered as a Stanley Cup winner in Pittsburgh.
Oh, no doubt about it. I think it's as simple as this, Jim. I think it's about Sidney Crosby wanting to move, right? I'm sure. Look, if I'm Kyle Dubas and I'm a rebuilding general manager here, and I got to look past Sidney Crosby because I got a 7-year deal and I want to build this team beyond Sidney Crosby, it would sort of be a blessing if Sidney Crosby came to me and said, "You know what, Kyle, I'd really like to finish my career somewhere else. Could you think about moving me? And here are the teams I'd like to go to." But let's face it, Crosby's driving this bus. He's got the full no move. He is an esteemed guy who has an absolute carte blanche in the city of Pittsburgh. He'll be a forever Penguin whether he plays in another jersey beyond Pittsburgh or not, right? It's not going to change the fact that he's a 3-time Stanley Cup champion, that he Sid the Kid, that he essentially built that arena and turned around the fortunes of a very destitute franchise when he arrived there as a rookie. And so none of that is going to change if he goes somewhere else. It's just a matter of, does he want to go somewhere else at age 37? And who knows? That's really the one thing we know about. I've said this before about Sidney Crosby. The one thing we know about him is we don't know very much. As much as he's been one of the most famous hockey players on the planet since he emerged as a phenomenal junior, we really don't know that much about what makes him tick. Other than the fact he loves to play hockey and he loves to work hard. Those are the kinds of things we know about him. How he feels about his career, there's been every indication he does not want to play anywhere else other than Pittsburgh. But he's never played in Pittsburgh when it's been as bad as it's been this season and in the past few.
Hey, look, next year could even be worse. And I sort of put him in the Ray Bork file where, when it's really bad where you are, it might be better for you to go out on a positive. And maybe there's a team where he's got a really close friend on that's a player away from a Stanley Cup. And that's a great way to go out also. But as you say, he's always going to be Pittsburgh's Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, and look, the Bork one too is it's similar in that way, but it's also like Bork was looking for his first Stanley Cup, right?
Right.
Crosby's got the rings, so it's not like cup chasing is not really necessarily something you would think he'd be looking for. Although, hey, another cup would be a fun thing. To your point about his friends, we all know how close he is to his maritime buddies, Nate McKinnon and Brad Marchand, and so who knows if that could be a factor in this. There's lots of speculation it could be, and we also know that he understands hockey history. And to Hayes' point, why wouldn't he want to come to Toronto and help the Maple Leafs break the longest Stanley Cup drought in the history of the NHL? So,
by that time, it might be to continue the string of Stanley Cups.
There you go. Who knows, right? Who knows? You got to think positive. They're due, right? So, this is the problem is we just don't know what is going on in the mind of Sidney Crosby as he watches his team struggle yet again to find their place in this league. It's a hard one to answer considering we know very little about the only character that matters in the story.
Yeah, it's going to be intriguing when it happens, if it happens, and until it does, or until he retires, there'll always be some free speculation, right?
Oh, for sure, and why not? I mean, it's a lot of fun to think about. I think one thing that I've thought about is that in this season, if assuming Alex Ovechkin gets back to healthy, which we assume he's going to, and he resumes his march toward Wayne Gretzky's goal record, those two have been linked, right? Since the moment they arrived in this league, and it's been a great rivalry, and they've both been so great for the league. Wouldn't it be fun if it wasn't just Ovechkin making noise in the spring, and which we assume he's going to be doing as he chases down Gretzky? Wouldn't it be fun if Crosby was relevant again? Because right now, if he stays on this team, he will not be. It would be a lot of fun if Sid the Kid, who clearly has a lot left in the tank, was relevant again on a team that mattered. I think that would be a great gift, not only to Sidney Crosby, but to hockey and hockey fans.
Or maybe he could be Ovi's center.
There you go. That's imaginative thinking. I love that one, Tap Man. I love that one.
That would be something special. I mean, I don't see Ovi going past next year, but I see Sid going past next year.
Well, yeah, he's got it. I mean, he's under contract for another year. I mean, he's only 37. Look, the guy is we always have known he's in tremendous shape. The guy takes care of his body like very few guys have taken care of their body, considering what he's put his body through.
Wow,
as one of the great
head neck problems.
Yeah, I mean, and then on the fact that he just is a relentless grinder on top of the fact he's one of the most skilled players that we've seen come through the league in the past 50 years. It's an amazing phenomenon, the thing that is Sidney Crosby. So I'm with you, man. I want to see Sidney Crosby playing meaningful games again. Now, we'll see him play for Team Canada in the Four Nations Cup. We hope we see him play in the Olympics in 2026. But I hope he plays in meaningful games beyond those, because I think it would be a lot of fun to watch, and I think it would be great for the game.
We've got seconds to do this, but Austin Matthews did not have a great night last night as opposed to what he did against Nashville in the previous game, so he's going to bounce back tonight.
You would have to think. I mean, he didn't look great last night, but look, he's coming back off a long absence. We all know he made the trip to Germany. He was out for most of a month with this undisclosed upper body injury. You have to expect it. He's going to need a little time to ramp up. It won't be a straight line. I would expect a strong bounce back performance from number 34 tonight.
Only a couple of shots on goal last night and a -2 when he pretty well decided the game against Nashville in the previous outing. So we'll step aside and set the opening face-off for you next. Saturday night, the Leafs in Pittsburgh against the Penguins. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
In Scarborough, there's this fire behind our eyes.
A passion in our bellies.
It's in the hearts of our neighbors.
The eyes of our nurses.
And the hands of our doctors.
It's what makes Scarborough, Scarborough.
In our hospitals, we do more than anyone thought possible, with less than anyone could imagine.
But it's time to imagine what we can do with more.
Join Scarborough Health Network, and together,
we can turn grit into greatness.
Donate at lovescarborough.ca.
Winners and HomeSense bring you Save the Holidays, a race to slay the season. Drama, romance, deals. A story that shows it's never too late to enjoy 5-star savings on new gifts arriving daily. Christmas is coming and time is running out. Save your holiday with Winners and HomeSense.
This holiday season, step back in time to Christmas at the Village at Black Creek. Bring the family for festive fun with special daytime visits from Santa and holiday activities for all ages. Then, as night falls, enjoy the enchanting sights and sounds of a Victorian Christmas in our historic village. Don't miss the magic of Christmas past. Reserve your tickets at blackcreek.ca. The Village at Black Creek. Your holiday tradition awaits.
The housing crisis in the GTA has reached a critical point, with more than 2 in 3 residents being affected.
Reporting that almost 9 million Canadians are living in food-insecure households.
Over 1 million people in the GTA now live below the poverty line.
Just out today, mental health support is the #1 reason people are calling 211 for assistance.
At United Way, we wake up to a different alarm every day. Help us end poverty and build a better GTA any way we can. Donate today at unitedwaygt.org.
Well, one that got away last night at home to Washington, tonight on the road to Pittsburgh. The Leafs looking for answers. Players are returning Max Pacioretty tonight and more on the way next week. So I have to ask, will Pacioretty get a max performance tonight? Will the Leafs stop a losing streak from starting? Well, let's find out. Molson Canadian Leafs hockey starts now.
It's time for Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
Oh, yes, they do, and they're in Pittsburgh tonight against Sid the Kid and the Penguins. Welcome to Molson Canadian Leafs hockey. Jim Taddy, Dave Feschuk from the Toronto Star, Joe Bowen and Jimmy Ralph standing by with their accounts and descriptions. The starting lineup is brought to you by Molson, the official beer sponsor of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And get a load of this, 2 changes from what you may have expected. Austin Matthews centering Marner and Pacioretty. Tavares centering William Nylander and Matthew Nyes. Fraser Minton centering Alex Nylander and Pontus Holmberg. Connor Dewar centering Ryan Reeves and Steven Lorentz. And on the blue line, it is Riley, Myers, OEL, Tanev, Benoit, and Timmins, and Joseph Wall starts in goal. Dave, what do you make of that switch with Pacioretty and Alex Nylander?
Yeah, I find that Pacioretty really fascinating because when we saw Pacioretty last, nearly a month ago, 10 games ago, and he went out with that injury to what looked like his hamstring, he almost exclusively played with Tavares and Nylander. And tonight, Craig Barube brings him back after this long absence at age 36, and he puts him with Matthews and Marner. Now, we all know that can last one shift, or it could last the whole game. Who knows? But I found that intriguing for sure. And I think it's a new thing for a guy who's going to get a fresh start. After a disappointing injury, clearly.
And Nyes going back with Tavares and William Nylander, that's intriguing. And Alex Nylander inserted instead of Robertson is intriguing as well. So, I mean, that's a bit of a shakeup there.
It is a good shakeup. And maybe that's the message from Craig Barube. He wasn't happy with last night's performance very clearly. There were multiple voices out of that dressing room last night that were clearly, not pleased with the way the Leafs conducted themselves against the Washington Capitals. There was a real call for, harder work and more attention to detail and just better play in general. So maybe a little bit of a line blunder is not a bad idea from the coach to say, hey, fresh start. Second game of a back-to-back. The Leafs have been pretty good in these situations all year. The Penguins are also playing the second game of a back-to-back, so there's no excuses in terms of the scheduling advantage, and certainly lots to play for here when it comes to new line combinations and guys trying to make a mark in various ways.
And so the message after the game was it wasn't good enough and we have to be better. And for Austin Matthews, it wasn't his best game. And so maybe it wasn't for Nyes either. And maybe that was the diagnosis. And when you put Pacioretty in, it sort of wakes up, Matthews. And when you drop Nyes down, it wakes him up. And with Robertson out, Alex Nylander in there who'd been seated for 2 games, all of a sudden he's bright and ready to go too. So I could totally understand it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but again, Craig Barube was, when Matthews came back after his long absence, he was, sounded quite adamant that he didn't want to put Matthews and Marner together until he put them back together, right? I mean, it didn't take too long. So I don't read too much into it other than the fact that I do think, this team needed a bit of a jolt, needed a bit of a reminder that, there were things being asked that weren't delivered last night. And also I think, look, there is a message on the bottom of the roster here, like on the, when it comes to the healthy scratching of Nick Robertson and Nikita Grobenkin, Alex Nylander drawing back in. The message is, hey guys, this is a prove it to me league, and you got to prove it every night. And guess what? We've got guys coming back from injury. Max Domi may join the team in New Jersey this week. We know that Kampf and McMahon maybe won't be far behind him in terms of getting back to health on the forward side of things. And no spot is guaranteed. No ice time is given for free. You got to earn it. And Craig Barube is certainly sending that message tonight in a very big way.
Well, I mean, there's no wiggle room. So if you're in the top 6, you might get dropped a line. If you're in the bottom 6, you're going to get dropped out of the lineup. There's no place for you to go if you're not going to do what the coach wants. Let's get some comments here. Coach's comments are brought to you by Honda. Score a $1,500 Honda bonus on the CRV LX. Conditions apply. Visit HondaOntario.com. Coach Barube on what Pacioretty brings to the lineup.
Forechecking and heavy on the puck in the offensive zone, big body, and he's a guy that gets to the net and uses his shot.
What did you like about his play before he got hurt there? It looked like he had a mix there with Tavares in the end.
Yeah, he did. I'm not sure he'll play there tonight, but like I said, he's just a heavy player, and he's strong on the pucks and physical, and he's got good skill. He's got a good shot.
Who comes out?
Bankin will be out.
What's looking over at the tape? What was the message coming out of just looking at what happened last night?
I thought that, like I said last night, I think they controlled the puck and play more than we did, more than anything. I think we defended well, and that's great, but I didn't feel we checked very well in the game. There's a difference for me. We spend too much time in our end and not enough time in their end. That's what the game boiled down to me.
How do you feel about the 5-forward power play now that's had a bit of a run?
Well, they had some great looks again. Last night we just didn't finish. I think they've had looks and they've scored, but so far it's been good for me.
Generally, the last 7 games outside of maybe yesterday, you've been generally pleased with the stretch that the team has?
I have been pleased. I think that we have to get back to establishing our forecheck better and playing longer in the offensive zone. I think it's dropped lately, and you're gonna go through ups and downs throughout the season, but that's one area where we got to get back to. That's been our strength this year, in my opinion.
What's the biggest thing you've learned about coaching guys through a back-to-back in your time in the league?
Well, on back-to-backs, like I said, it depends. The other day I said it depends on, the game the night before and the travel and all that kind of goes into it. But, you have to manage things in back-to-backs, you have to get your feet under you. And the first period's a key for me. They're crucial in the first period is, doing things smart, doing things right, managing the puck, good line changes, getting pucks deep, not trying to force things, not trying to go out there and win the game in the first period. Just be smart.
Coach Barube getting set for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And so, Dave, Pacioretty out there for forechecking purposes, and that really describes how the Leafs want to take the game to the Penguins as opposed to the other way around.
Well, that was one thing about Pacioretty. In the 13 games we saw him, the stats weren't overwhelming: 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points in 13 games at age 36. But the thing that I think a lot of people, raised their eyebrows in a very positive way about was his physicality. Like, he's hits per 60 minutes, Jim. I think he's second on the team to Ryan Reeves. He really threw that body around, that big man's strength body that he has. Max Pacioretty makes his presence felt out there. And so, I think that's a really attractive quality in a player that also clearly has, a history of great scoring touch in this league. And I think that's why Craig Berube immediately upon his return here is putting him with the big boys on the top line to say, hey, Max, we value what you do. Bring it back because we missed you when you were gone.
Well, and to go back to the last night's Washington performance again, the Capitals really were physical. They gave it to the Leafs.
Yeah, they're a heavy team. They have a lot of, that's a team that values size, that values physicality in a very big way, and they did. They out-physicaled the Leafs. They pushed the Leafs around in some ways. They certainly outskated them in many ways. So look, Craig Berube was quite clear about that. He wasn't happy with that. And look, Max Pacioretty, assuming he is ready to come back, and there's no reason to believe he's not, and he's been ramping up properly, you would have to think he's coming back with some fresh legs. He's been resting. I mean, there's always about, finding game speed and getting back into game shape, but, he's definitely going to have, lively legs, having been out as long as he's been out. And so I would expect a really strong performance from Max Pacioretty tonight. Maybe not in terms of the timing on the fine motor skill plays, but certainly in terms of energy. And I think that'll be a welcome addition to the lineup for the Maple Leafs.
And even though it's back-to-backs, both teams were on the road last night, so both teams have the same sort of problem in terms of physical drain. But I think that the Leafs are looking for the 60 minutes, certainly no lulls, and that would be an improvement over what we've seen lately.
Yeah, that's been a big point, Jim, for sure. And the 60 minutes is key. And I think that's what the message Barube was sending last night. Like, you should be getting that, jolt of energy if the big boys aren't bringing it, and we all know that on this team, the big guys do bring it most of the time. They've been carrying the weight statistically and otherwise for a long time around here. But I think what they want and what they, good teams have is the jolt of energy coming up from the bottom, right? You want those bottom six guys who, the point we've been making during this pre-game show is that those spots are not guaranteed. And you should have that energy being inserted into the lineup from that bottom six every time they hit the ice, rather than seeing those guys being relegated to the end of the bench, to your point, to eat some popcorn in the third period like Grabenkin and Robertson were last night. And so hopefully those guys get that message. I think the Dewar, Lorentz, Reeves line has that ability to do that. Minton and Holmberg, who will be playing tonight with Alex Nylander, certainly have that ability, but you got to go out there and do it.
The opening face-off is next. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
This week on Let's Go with Bill Belichick, Max Crosby, Peter King, and me, Jim Gray.
Just 3 wins so far for the Patriots. What's your feelings?
Yeah, just haven't done enough to win very many games. It's hard to see them, going through that type of a season. There's nothing I can do about it. I mean, just feel bad for a lot of those guys. It's the National Football League. It's very competitive. You got to find a way to stand up to the competition. That's a challenge for every team.
Listen to the extended version of Let's Go, now available exclusively on the all-new SiriusXM app. The biggest plays.
What a save!
Hits.
Hard hit.
Goals.
McDavid scores!
Tune to NHL Network Radio for the most in-depth hockey talk on the planet.
He is the GM of the Minnesota Wild.
Insider.
Happy Hockey Night in Canada, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us and spending your Saturday night here on Toronto Sports Insider, chatting it up with the best community for the Leafs on YouTube, on the internet, anywhere in the world, right here on Toronto Sports Insider. Please take a second, hit that like button down below. Let's bring more hockey fans to the chat so that we can cheer on our Maple Leafs to get another W on Hockey Night in Canada against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Thank you for hitting that like button. Please share this link out so that we can get more friends in the chat. And let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go!
And on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
The only 2 players in the history of the National Hockey League to have 600 goals, 1,600 points, 3 Stanley Cups, and 2 Conn Smythes. Wayne and Sid. Just it absolutely blows your mind how good Sidney Crosby is and how much we take him for granted.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91. And on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. Under review.
Avalanche goaltending sucks. There's no other way around it. They have the worst team save percentage in the National Hockey League. Oh, sure, they can score goals, but they can't prevent them. And this is why I don't take the Avalanche seriously as a Stanley Cup contender, no matter how top-heavy they are with future Hall of Famers. Their goaltending's bad.
Under review with Mick Kern. 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
The Executive Director, Vice President of Hockey Operations for the NHL, Colin Campbell.
The one thing that we're wrestling right now, when do you change a call? We talk about a listening device in the referee's ear. Do we make that next step? How more perfect can we make a game through video review and helping the officials on the ice?
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The UEFA Champions League is back on SiriusXM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on SiriusXM FC 157 and the all-new SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Maple Leafs have made the short trip down to
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as they tangle with the Penguins here this evening in a game that is back-to-back for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they are into their, I guess it's about their 4th of 14 back-to-back series that they will have through the course of this season. 6 actually, and they're back-to-back situations. And we're ready to go here as the puck has been dropped, and the puck is down to our right into the Toronto zone as it comes back into the slot. A long shot deflects wide of the goal into the corner for Brian Rust. Another rolling puck in front of the net. Goaltender Joseph Wall has lost his stick. It's in behind the goal, and he'll get a chance to go and get that now. Played out into the center ice area and down to the Toronto zone, and Morgan Rielly trying to play it up the wall and get it out, but it has gone off the stick and gone for icing, and play will be brought back. The starting lineup brought to you by Molson, the official beer sponsor of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Joseph Wall, 7-2-0 this year with a 2.11 goals against average and a .922 save percentage. And Tristan Jarry is 4-3-1 and a 3.88 goals against average and an .884 save percentage. And goals against have been the big bugaboo as far as the Pittsburgh Penguins are concerned, as a shot is deflected wide of the net by Joseph Wall. Penguins try to work it out on the far boards. Glass into the corner. Now Malkin trying to get away from the checking of Tavares. Myers forces it around the boards to the near side, and it'll be pushed into the corner now, and it is Malkin getting it back to the point on the right wing side. A shot goes off a block in front, but the Penguins are going to keep it in as it goes down into the corner, and now Morgan Rielly playing it off the boards and out at center, trying to push it in over the line. Nylander got behind his man, went to the front of the net, and despite being held on to there by Owen Pickering, one-handed it just wide of the net. Bouncing puck to the near boards, and the Leafs have to go back to it. Benoit will shoot it in, and around the boards it goes into the far corner. Centering pass in Minton with a wrist shot, and that was off the mark wide. Minton into the corner now is tied up by a couple of Penguins. The puck is still in against the wall, and it's taken around back of the net. And Lizotte will get it to the far boards, but not out. Leafs doing a nice job of forechecking here. Alex Nylander couldn't come up with it. It sails all the way back into the Toronto zone. Defense get it up on the left wing and into the zone once more, but it's poked back out at center by the Penguins. Leafs regroup. Pontus Holmberg hustles down into the corner after it. He battles in there with Matt Grzelcyk. The puck is wedged up against the boards, but it is poked free, and now here the Penguins getting it out at center ice. Kevin Hayes playing it in over the line. Knocked down on the play, a puck back at the net. Wall sealing off the short side, and then a long shot is blocked in front of the Toronto goal. Like the way Wall sealed that side off. He didn't go for anything that was going around back of the net. He wanted to make sure nothing was going to be stuffed in on the short side.
6-0 coming into this one.
Pass in front of the net for Rielly. Can't get a shot away. And it is played off the boards into the slot area. A deflection goes wide of the net. Penguins trying to get it up on the boards, but not out. And it is now dragged to center ice. And Achari will send it down into the zone. Leafs regrouping the puck as it comes around on the left wing boards, and Morgan Rielly starts out. And across the line, Matthews down into the corner. Pacioretty back into the lineup. Got it back to the point. D to D it comes to Rielly. He's unable to send it to the net. Pacioretty takes his man to the boards. Got it in front for Marner. And a wrist shot for the top corner went just wide. Back to the point it comes to Morgan Rielly. A shot. And that was kicked away by Tristan Jarry. Penguins get it out at center ice. Rink-wide feed comes in on the left wing now for Marner. Marner unable to get to it. And it's played along the boards and out at center ice. And I better tell our producers here that I could not hear your mic, Mr. Ralph. And I don't have an awful lot of volume in my headset as well, as we're going to get a holding call here against the Maple Leafs, it appears.
What about now? You got me?
I got you there now a little bit. Yep.
Right, the Willie Nylander very easily could have drawn a penalty moments earlier. driving to the net, no call, and I'm not sure if we actually saw what the penalty was. Now holding the stick, maybe. Nice.
Oh, it's nice. Yep.
Raquel's stick.
So the Leafs go to the penalty kill. Brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks. Draw won by the Penguins. They work it down into the corner. Played by Carlson around the boards, but it's going to skip by everyone and go down into Pittsburgh territory. Penguins are 14th in the power play, 17 of 79, 21.5%. The Leafs, one of their strengths has been their penalty kill. They're third in the league. And what a change that has been from over the years. Back to the point it comes, and a wrist shot by Carlson, blockered away nicely by Wall. Kept alive on the right wing side, down into the corner by Russ. It comes into this blue paint and is swallowed up there by goaltender Joseph Wall, and they're going to hold for a face-off coming in the Toronto zone. Brought to you by Alpine Credits. You own your own home and need a loan. Alpine Credits can help. Get approved at alpinecredits.ca.
The Penguins are 3 for 12 on the power play in their last 4 games, but all 3 of those goals came against the Calgary Flames in a single game. Say what you want about the aging core of the Pittsburgh Penguins. There's still enough talent there that they can hurt you.
Draw one cleanly by the Pens. They get it back to the point. Letang gets it into the corner. Comes back to the blue line, and a wrist shot scores from the point. May have been deflected in front of the net, but a wrist shot by Matt Grzelcyk opens the scoring at 4:39 of the first period.
Leafs have been perfect on the penalty kill in the last 3 games, but here, simple point shot. Win the draw, go to the net. And I believe it was Grzelcyk that let it go. Rickard Rakell was in front. In fact, he did the flyby at the last second, taking the eyes away from Joseph Wall. I don't think this is deflected. This goes right through about 3 players before it sailed past Joseph Wall. And with 15:21 to go in the opening period, the Penguins have opened the scoring.
First goal of the season for Grzelcyk.
You can talk all you want about the call, but you can't take penalties in the neutral zone or in the offensive zone without having it come back to bite you.
Puck comes back into the Pittsburgh zone, chopped into the corner. Nylander got there to send it around to the left wing side, but Tavares is late arriving, and the Penguins are going to get it out with a lead pass that is too far for everyone, but it's right down on goal, and Wall leaves it for his defense, and Myers now starts back up ice. Myers to the red line. He'll flip it into the right wing corner and peel to the bench. Ryan Graves goes back into the Pittsburgh zone, launches it high into the left wing corner. Timmins rubs his man out on the wall to allow Benoit access, and Lorenz gets it ahead, and Connor Dewar comes to center. Dewar in on the right side. Grabenkin is the scratch tonight for the Maple Leafs as Lorenz is on the line along with Dewar and Ryan Reeves. And the fourth line struggled the other night against Washington. Cleared down into the Pittsburgh zone. Reeves with a hit there against the boards on Ryan Graves, but the Penguins get it to center and get it down into the Toronto end. Along the boards, it's pushed along into the corner. Off a stick, it comes out in center. Ekman Larsson trying to get it into the zone. Matthews was tripped up as he got to the blue line. Now he gets another opportunity thanks to Pacioretty, who sends it into the Pittsburgh end. Marner into the forecheck. Pacioretty cuts it off and sends it around the boards to the far corner. Marner trying to dig it away there. So is Matthews. Pacioretty gets it back to the point. Ekman Larsson closes, and he shot it high and wide over top of the goal. Matthews saucers it back. Ekman Larsson, another shot in traffic. They score! Marner on the seat of his pants is able to push it past the goaltender to tie the game at 1.
Matthews line against the Crosby line. And the Leafs do the same thing the Penguins do. get the puck to the net with traffic in front. Ekman-Larsson might have rang it off the crossbar earlier. But in the second attempt, they get it to the net, and Mitch Marner is standing right in front of Tristan Jarry. The puck, the initial shot from the left point, hits the mass in front of the Pittsburgh goaltender, drops down at the feet of Marner, who, as he's getting knocked to the ice, sweeps it past Tristan Jarry, who I still don't think knew where that puck was.
6:35, the time of the Marner goal. And has he been hot? As Mitch Marner gets his 10th of the season. Puck in the Toronto end. Dug out and pushed up on the boards and cleared to center ice. Holmberg will get it the rest of the way into the Pittsburgh zone. Penguins back organizing in their own end. Up on the right side, it goes for Letang. Letang got it into the zone. Kevin Hayes goes into the corner and is knocked down by Pontus Holmberg. Played back to the point on the left side. It'll come back to Letang. Letang can't send it at the net. Hayes gets it into the corner again. He is tied up there. The puck goes high in the air. Minton got it up along the boards, but not out. Now played with a glove to the Pittsburgh player. This will be a whistle if they touch it, and they finally do. And that will stop play and bring a face-off in the center ice area when we return. The game is tied at a goal. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
We bring the boom. That's what we do.
All the viral songs from TikTok's For You page.
All on one SiriusXM channel. Presented by creators like me.
TikTok Radio. Channel 4.
Or at home with SiriusXM on your phone,
computer,
Alexa,
TV, and other internet-connected devices.
The biggest plays.
What a save!
Hits.
Oh, hard hit.
Goals.
McDavid scores!
Tune to NHL Network Radio for the most in-depth hockey talk on the planet.
Hello? Hello? Hey, out there! Where are you watching from? And where did Mike go? Hello? Where are you watching from on Hockey Night in Canada? I'm right here. I'm watching in Chicago, Illinois. I'm a transplant. Where are you watching from on this great Hockey Night in Canada matchup between the Pittsburgh Penguins and our Toronto Maple Leafs? Please let us know in the chat what city and province you're watching in Canada. If you're in the States, USA, give us that city and state, and all over the world, let us know what country you're watching from. And this is the best part of the night, when we get to see how many people from all over the world are hanging out together, making a difference in the Toronto community. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for participating in the chat. Now let's get back to it. Go Leafs, go! Let's finish this one strong.
NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Austin Matthews have drawn assists on Marner's 10th goal of the season. And he's had multi-point games in 3 of his last 4 and 8 of his last 9.
They did have last night not getting appointed an 8-game point streak staff. But does have points in 16 of his last 18.
He is a point producer. There's no two ways about it. Played along the boards and deflected out into the center ice area. And here is Willie Nylander driving the net. Thinks better of trying to go to the backhand, and then tried to set up Nyes, who was coming late, but he missed it. Penguins in on the right side. Russ dropping it back for Malkin. Malkin gets it into the slot, and it was just out of the reach of the Penguin player cutting across in front, and Jesse Pulmari played along the boards and at the point, feathered back in by Grzelcyk. The pass comes in front of the net. The Leafs are able to poke it free and chip it out into neutral ice. Karlsson will regroup it for Pittsburgh. Erik Karlsson with a pass ahead, deflected down into the Toronto zone. Played along the boards by Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Puck comes in front of the net, and Wall is going to cover up on that and bring a face-off in the Toronto zone with Puljujarvi right on top of him. And so there'll be a face-off in the
Toronto in.
Toronto in. When we get the picture back on the screen. Disconcerting there. Didn't think we were going to have anything to talk about. 11:26 left to play here in the period. Played around the boards to the far side. Marner will chip it out into the center ice area and then deflect it even further. He'll go after it as it's reversed around to the far wing, and a pass comes out at center ice, and the Leafs will regroup at their own blue line. Ekman-Larsson gives it back to Chris Tanev. Off the boards and in. Jake McCabe still out with that puck that hit him in the back of the helmet and back of the neck area. He's been placed on injured reserve dating back to the time of the injury, which was last Saturday against Tampa. So Oliver Ekman-Larsson has fit in here with Chris Tanev as the shutdown pair. And he has the puck in his own zone. Ekman-Larsson sending it in off his stick. Lorenz into the forecheck. Gets it around back of the goal. Lorenz battles along the far side. Connor Dewar couldn't keep it in initially. Did the second time, but then it's poked out into neutral ice. And the Leafs regroup the puck back in their own zone. Bank ahead, deflected by Reeves, but not into the zone. Reeves bodies his man. Dewar couldn't come up with it. Riley has played it to the Pittsburgh blue line, and the Penguins now with a lead pass. It's knocked away, and Reeves will get it out into the center ice area. Leafs are changing as it's deflected back to neutral ice and then shot high into the Toronto zone. Wall out of the goal, playing it around back of the net to his defense. Off the stick and down into Pittsburgh territory. Jari has to come out to play it away there from Pontus Holmberg. Holmberg carries back towards the blue line. Got it off on the wing into the corner now. Minton getting it back behind the net. Holmberg trying to work the boards there against Grzelcyk. Still has it. Played into an empty corner. And it'll be Beauvillier getting to it for Pittsburgh, but they don't get it out. A turnover and Fraser Minton closes! And he ripped it over top of the goal.
Boy, he had room, didn't he? Short side, blocker side.
And he has it again. Minton in with a shot. This time off a leg. It goes harmlessly wide. Alex Nylander into the forecheck. It's pushed up on the wall. Nyes is able to keep it in for Nylander. He'll play it down into the corner and head to the bench. Nyes couldn't come up with it. Penguins get it out into the center ice area. Brought to the line and in by Cody Glass. Glass gets it down into the right wing corner. Can't make a play. Gets it handed back to him, and then it's deflected out and down the ice, and there'll be no icing here as the Penguins have to go back. Carlson getting it around on the boards. That was blocked by Tavares. Back of the net he goes. Coming out in front on the forehand. Got a shot away, but it was blocked. Ekman-Larsson pinches to help out. Played it back to Tavares, filling in at the point. Tavares saucers it to the far side for Nyes. Nyes back to Tavares. Deflected back to the point. Wrist shot coming. Stopped by Jari. Rolling towards the empty net. Cleared away by one of the defensemen. Close call there for Pittsburgh. Leafs get it back to the blue line. Tavares battles but can't get it in deep. Decides to go back to his defense. And Myers plays it ahead, and it's into the zone, and Pacioretty is onto it. Pacioretty centers. That was knocked away before Marner could get to it. And then a centering pass for Matthews didn't connect. Rust sends it back in for Crosby. Crosby's pass intercepted. Flipped out at center by Matthews. Marner giving chase, but won't get to it. 7:40 to play, first period. And it is a 1-1 tie. Puck back in the Toronto zone. Penguins have to go back into their own zone to pick it up. They get it ahead to Rust. Rust trying to play it out at center. Comes back into the corner. A pass into the slot. Brought back to the point. Near side with a drive, and that was deflected wide of the goal. Rebound into the corner again. Penguins trying to dig it free, and Reeves unable to get it out against the boards. Lazat cycling it along the wall for Puljujarvi. Puljujarvi unable to make a play. Lazat will help out, getting it back to the point. Wrist shot deflects. Wall has no idea where it went. Went over top of the net. Penguins with good pressure here. And again, it's the Leafs' fourth line hemmed in their own end. And now they get it out. And it is Dewar getting it across the line for a shot by Lorentz that deflected wide. Here's Connor Dewar coming out of the corner. Back in along the boards for Reeves. He ties up his man and breaks the stick. The puck comes back into the slot. Benoit! Oh, and a big save made there by Jarry.
Another play where the puck seems to disappear. Everybody seemed to pull up, and then the Leafs end up with it on their stick, and Simon Benoit sneaks into the slot, takes the pass, and very nearly, and that was after Reeves one-handed one off the pad of Jarry and off the outside of the post. But the Leafs on the forecheck have been able to create some turnovers and some scoring chances.
It is a 1-1 tie. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars.
Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. The one that's watching the hockey game with us on Hockey Night in Canada. That's right, it's our favorite night of the week. Saturday night, there's nothing better. Now, why haven't you hit that subscribe button yet? You know you love hanging out here, cheering on the Maple Leafs, hanging out during Hockey Night in Canada. Just hit that bell. Turn on that subscribe button. You're not turning on a subscribe button. You turn on the bell. And this is why we are real life here on TSI. Just hit the subscribe button, all right? Let's just go with that. And we'll see you back in the chat next time. Happy Hockey Night in Canada. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you back in there.
Of our superheroes. Joe and Lucy needed a new roof and reached out to Alpine Credits. I flew over to help them with a home renovation loan. I suggested they transform their house into a giant robot head, beams that shoot from the eyes. Pew, pew. Instead, they just went with shingles. But it's pretty glorious.
Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
Leafs won and the Pittsburgh Penguins won. Mitch Marner has scored his 10th of the season, and Matt Grzelcyk has his first of the season.
Marner now in the last 19 games, 9 goals, 30 points, which gets him nicely into the top 10 in NHL scoring.
Draw won by Pittsburgh. Erik Karlsson playing the puck out into the center ice area and down into the Leaf end, forcing Morgan Rielly back, as is Myers. And Philip Myers plays it along the boards, and the Leafs break it out. Tavares with Rielly. Tavares into the slot with a shot, and it's into the glove of Tristan Jarry. John Tavares has had a tremendous start to this season.
Again, a lot of it was due to the extra responsibility with Austin Matthews out of the lineup. And he certainly carried this Leaf team for a long stretch. And in fact, in Tavares' last 12 games coming in, has 7 goals and 12 points. Was the only Leaf goal scorer last night in their loss to the Washington Capitals.
6:01 to play here in the first period. Moving right along rather quickly. Played to the line, not out. Kept in by Tanev. Around the boards it comes. I love Chris Tanev's comment on the great pass he made last night as the shot goes wide of the Leaf goal, and then a rebound, scores! Joseph Woll never really got set. The puck went wide of the net and bounced right back out. And I believe Brian Rust is the Penguin who got to it first, and a quick shot beats Woll. And it's 2-1 Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you do not see Joseph Woll give up a lot like this. Chance off the rush by the Penguins. Crosby's shot goes off the backboard. Then it actually goes back through Crosby and a Leaf defenseman, Ekman Larsson, and out onto the stick of Rust, who in just one motion fires it towards the net. And it gets through the pads of Joseph Woll, who is not down and set in the butterfly. Kind of a fortunate bounce for the Penguins, but Crosby will pick up an assist. And the Penguins are second lead.
9th of the year for Rust. Before I was so rudely interrupted by the goal, Tanev just said, asked about the great pass to Tavares for the breakaway, just said, doesn't matter, we lost. Move on. Give me another question. Brought in now by Raquel, and a shot is swallowed up by Wall, who comes into the game second in the league to Philip Gustafsson of the Minnesota Wild, who has a 1.99 GAA, and Wall is at 2.11, and he'll have to hang this one at 2 to maintain that. Leafs trailed 2-1 in the first period. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The hot stove is heating up, and MLB Network Radio is your ultimate destination for wall-to-wall coverage of the winter meetings in Dallas.
It may be more exciting than the World Series.
Beginning Sunday, join our team of insiders and analysts as we bring you exclusive interviews and live updates straight from the heart of the action. Catch all the deals, storylines, and decisions shaping the 2025 season only on.
Cheers, insiders. Thank you for hanging out with us every single Toronto Maple Leafs game and having so much fun, keeping it classy in the chat, cheering on our boys in blue when they take the ice every single game. I just wanted to say I am so appreciative of every single one of you being here, every single one that has hit the like button, that has shared this link out, whether it's tonight or a night in the past, or we'll do it in the future. Thank you guys for hanging out with us and having a good time. This community is so awesome. I can't even explain it. It doesn't even get into words, but I just wanted to say thank you and pat yourself on the back, because you are the reason why this community is what it is. I couldn't do this by myself. So thank you. Now let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you back in there.
European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Face off in the Toronto zone, won cleanly by the Penguins as it comes to the point. A shot knocked down high in the air. A backhand to the net was sent off a skate and went wide. 2-1 Pittsburgh. Pass in front of the goal. Riley got back to knock it away and place it off the boards, and it's tipped out at center ice. Penguins back to recover the puck. Pass struck nice. He's kind of doubled over as he remains out onto the ice. And it is launched down into the Toronto zone. Puljujarvi and Glass getting it around back of the net. Grabbed off there by Nylander. Pass intercepted, though, by Malkin. Malkin on the right wing side for Karlsson. He tried to center, didn't work. It's launched high to center, and Nylander has a partial breakaway as he's in on goal. And that was stopped by Tristan Jarry. How many breakaways has Willie Nylander had this week?
That's back-to-back games now for sure.
Played back to the point and out into the center ice area. He had 2 the other night and couldn't score, and then John Tavares scored on a breakaway. Played around the boards into the near corner. Back to the point. Pass in front of the net, redirected by Pontus Holmberg, well wide of the goal. Minton in along the boards, dug it free, played back to the left point to Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Can't do much more than send it into the corner for Alex Nylander, who comes to the side of the goal. Couldn't jam it in on the short side. Ekman-Larsson keeps it in. Holmberg into the corner, back of the net it goes. Minton reverses the puck for Pontus Holmberg. Looking for help there from Nylander. It doesn't come, but it is Ekman-Larsson keeping it in. Nylander unable to come up with it, though, and the Penguins will get it out at center. Chris Tanev with 3:20 to play in the period. Up for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Shot down into Pittsburgh territory. And Raquel goes rink wide for Rust. Brian Rust with a wrist shot that deflected wide. Boy, those end boards seem to be very lively, don't they? A couple of times it's exploded right back out in front of Wall. That's an advantage for the home team, right? Yep, so you know where to go with it. Yep, there's some pushing and shoving in the corner. Nothing more develops. The puck's out at center. Leafs with it with Matthews. Trying to find Marner. Marner driving the net, goes around back of the goal. Center's in front, and Matthews chipped it over top of the goal. Back to the point. Near side, it comes to Riley, back to Marner. Marner's wrist shot in traffic, deflected wide. Into the corner and down the boards comes Myers. Helping out is Matthews. Centering pass now for Marner. Left wing side, Riley. Riley back into the slot area for Marner. Marner's wrist shot deflected wide. It came in front of the goal, and no one can get a stick on it. Penguins cleared around, but still not out. Leafs with good pressure here. Marner once more in the slot. Still with it, shooting. Blocked there by Tristan Jarry. Off the glass and out for Pittsburgh. Is it enough for icing? It would appear to be. No, waved off.
Philip Meyer couldn't go any slower.
Tried. That's a skill.
But boy, Pittsburgh would have been in trouble.
Brought in over the line now by Kevin Hayes as he deflects it wide of the Leaf goal. Benoit steps into his man. Puck in the Toronto zone. Dug out now by Dewar. He gets it out. Gets some assistance from Reeves. And it'll go all the way back into the Toronto end. And Connor Timmins is there. Timmins getting it up on the right wing, and the pass finds Benoit. Into the corner, he goes into the offensive zone and around back of the net. Into the far corner, back to the blue line, and a pass that should have been handled by Matthew Nyes was not. And it's all the way back into the Toronto end with 1:10 to go in the period. 2-1 Pittsburgh. Tavares coming out.
Tough period for Nyes so far, right? Takes the penalty, power play goal against, and a couple of opportunities he hasn't been able to handle in the Pittsburgh zone.
Letang on the right wing boards. Gets it out too far. An intended pass for Cody Glass. Leafs get it back in over the line, but Tavares couldn't spot his man as it's poked back out at center ice by Pittsburgh and launched right back in by Tavares. Nyes into the forecheck. But curling away from that was Grzelcyk, who plays it down into the Toronto end, and Tanev has to hustle back. Overskated the puck, tried to drag it along, now is in a fight in the corner for it. Puck comes free, and Nylander strides out at center. Willie will launch a bouncing puck in on Tristan Jarry, who had to watch that carefully. 14 seconds left in the period. Penguins get it to center, stolen back. On the wing for Pacioretty. He was knocked down from behind there by Ryan Graves. Leafs get it into the slot, but time's going to run out as Pittsburgh gains possession. And Bunting gives Myers a bit of a shot on the way by.
I'll tell you, even though the Leafs are down 2-1 after the first, I think you look at both Pittsburgh goals, a point shot through a screen and a rebound off the backboards goes in. Those are the two goals against. I thought the Leafs maybe played their best period since, the second period in Tampa a week ago, where they forechecked, they created a lot of turnovers, a lot of scoring opportunities.
A lot of zone time.
And you remember the Nylander breakaway. Ekman Larsson hit the crossbar. Benoit hits one off the post. Ryan Reeves jammed one off the side of the post. I thought from a Leafs standpoint, despite the score, with lots of time left, might have been their best period in the last 3 or 4 games.
Dave Feschuk will join Jim Taddy with our first period intermission. 2-1 Pittsburgh after a period. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
A celebration of music on a global scale. The biggest stars.
What's up, insiders? How we doing tonight? First intermission, hockey night in Canada. It's time for Coach's Corner. Oh, yeah. Man, that was the best. I miss Coach's Corner so much. Don Cherry was awesome. I would literally record the games just to rewatch Coach's Corner sometimes. That's how much I love Coach's Corner. Anyways, good first period from the Buds. They're down 2-1, but you know what? It's early. Plenty of time left. We'll get the goals and not worried about it all. Big shout out to Lucius in the chat. Thank you for the super chat, my man. Much appreciated. And there you go. We got a bunch of people here in the chat. Where did my remote go? There it is. I got to turn this down. There we go. All right. We got Big Jam Roll in the chat. Stefan, Veronica, Good to see you, Veronica. Nina in the chat as well. Love it. John Slattery, Fred Waterer, Dagger Cards. What's up, Dagger? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Pedro Guzman, Pikes Wrath. What's up? TSI is not Tinder. Thirsty guys. Yeah, that's not going to work. Not here. All right. Let's get to the intermission report. I just wanted to jump in and say hey to everybody here in the chat, and we'll put the chat up here on the screen. And now I got to adjust my screen to make it fit again because, business, right? Glad to see everybody here in the chat. I was dying on the way. I was doing some Christmas shopping. I was on the way home, and I was sitting there in the chat, and I'm like, cheers, 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 cheers. I love it. It is the best. The start of a Leafs game on TSI, especially on Hockey Night in Canada. Nothing better. We'll see you guys back in the chat. Go refill those drinks, and go Leafs go. Let's get the W tonight. Let's get back in this one in the second period.
National Hockey League. Oh, sure, they can score goals, but they can't prevent them. And this is why I don't take the Avalanche seriously as a Stanley Cup contender, no matter how top-heavy they are with future Hall of Famers. Their goaltending's bad.
Under Review with Mick Kern.
11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio.
Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic.
Another shot, red and black. Another chance. Game over. Bless you, boys. What a game. Holy mackerel, the kid's on fire! They're going to the second round! Do you believe this? Holy mackerel! Point taken! 2-0 Toronto! 2-on-1! Minor in over the line looking for Tavares!
Thank you for finding us. Thank you for sharing out the link and bringing more hockey fans to our awesome community here on TSI. And let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go! Let's tear them up.
Game on his stick! Scores! Changing the world, one insider at a time. We'll see you in the chat. And holy Mackinac! Go Leafs, go!
And Dave, I agree with everything Ralphie said at the end of that period, but I'm going to flip it around. I thought they did play one of their best periods in quite some time, but I will say the Pittsburgh goals went in quite easy, didn't they?
Yeah, it wasn't exactly Joseph Wall's best period for sure. He didn't look like the guy we've come to know as a up and coming elite goaltender in this league. But look, Ralphie's right. Like they played like Craig Barube asked them to play last night. Yeah. Craig Barube asked for better forechecking. They gave him better forechecking. I thought they commanded the zone in a big way. They had a ton of great chances. I mean, you talk about, high danger chances after high danger chances. The Leafs had plenty, only made good on one of them. But a really good period from the Maple Leafs, despite the fact you find themselves down 2-1.
Yeah, they had good zone pressure. The goal that bothered me was the second goal, just because they sort of got caught. They didn't get back in time, and that's all. A lot of that's all Sidney Crosby, racing down the ice on a nice feed, and then off the kick plate off the boards behind the net, it comes right out and Russ buries it. That's goaltender error for me.
Yeah, I'll give you that one for sure. And it was, it wasn't exactly a great defensive performance in front of Joseph Wall either, because that was a quick rush by the Penguins, and they made the most of it. So you're dealing with Sidney Crosby there. He's coming at you with speed. He knows what he's doing. He clearly knows this rink. Those pucks come off those backboards at PPG Paints Arena in a very real way, and Brian Russ capitalized on it. But yeah, you'd like to see that saved. That was the second goal on 5 shots against Joseph Wall at that point in the period, and clearly, the Maple Leafs didn't get the better end of it, even though they commanded the play in a lot of ways.
So here's the stat that will bother the coaching staff if it continues this way. 6 giveaways in that period. They had 21 last night. I mean, that has to tighten up. And I don't know what else they could do. I mean, they had that zone pressure, as Ralphie detailed, a couple of posts. I mean, this could be 3-2 or 3-1 for the Leafs here easily.
Yeah, this is a pretty loose hockey game, to your point. I mean, there were giveaways on the Toronto side. There were plenty of giveaways on the Pittsburgh side. I mean, the Nylander breakaway late in the period, that's set up by a giveaway, a turnover by Erik Karlsson, and Nylander had an awfully good chance there to make it 2-2. Coming in on a breakaway, Marcus Pettersson was in pursuit. Nylander didn't have a ton of time to really make a move, but he tried it and nearly got it through the 5-hole of Tristan Jarry. So there are giveaways going both ways. There's a little bit more rush hockey than we've seen in recent games for the Maple Leafs. I don't think we saw a lot of rushes last night. We didn't see a lot of odd man stuff going on in recent memory against the Capitals, certainly last night for sure. And there's a little bit more of that tonight than either coach would probably like. But I think the Maple Leafs, all in all, are making the most of it, making the most of a loose hockey game. They're coming into that Pittsburgh zone. They've been really good on puck retrievals, really good on keeping possessions alive. And I think that's, it's a big reason why that the goal they get, Mitch Marner down on his knees, putting it in, it's on sustained pressure in the Pittsburgh zone, thanks to some great work along the boards by Matthews and Pacioretty, and on down the list. There was pretty much everybody involved on that, and Mitch Marner putting the highlight reel effort in to put it in the net.
Well, that sort of typifies the period, how hard they had to work for that one goal. I mean, they literally threw everything at them, and Marner was decked and scored off the seat of his pants, and that was the only goal. I guess with a little more luck, they could have had a couple, but maybe the message is just try harder, work harder.
Well, yeah, I mean, right before that, Ekman Larsson hits a post on a pretty good chance. Benoit hit a post not too long after that. Fraser Minton had a pretty good chance. Marner's had exactly. Marner's had a really good bunch of chances in that period. So, look, if not for some good goaltending by Jarry and some good luck from the Iron, it could be a different game right now. And so, yeah, if you're Craig Berube, I don't think you can be too displeased. You just got to say, fellas, you keep playing like that, I like our chances.
Yeah, I got to believe that, if you put the same effort in the second period, you'd be rewarded more than once. And the odds of Pittsburgh getting a couple of easy goals in the second period while you're playing that hard should be somewhere between slim and none. Well,
exactly. I mean, you got to believe. Like, the Maple Leafs have, a top 5 team save percentage for a reason this season. You haven't seen a lot of goals that you'd want back, from the Maple Leafs this year, like in terms of their goaltenders allowing softies, and it just hasn't happened very much. So you don't consider it a problem when it happens once in a while. It happens to everybody once in a while. I'm not discouraged at all if I'm Craig Berube. I'm not discouraged at all if I'm the Maple Leafs. It's really all the underlying numbers say you've been the better team in this game, even if the scoreboard says different.
Dave, thanks very much. And remember, the Pittsburgh Penguins have the worst goals against average in the entire National Hockey League. They lead at 2-1 over the Leafs after 20 minutes of play. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
At last, the Subaru winter is here. It's the perfect weather for the beach. Feel the sun's rays on the small amount of skin peeking out of your ski mask. Put on your beach puffer and hear the sound of the waves crashing over the chatter of your teeth. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Your holiday bonus awaits. Visit your local Subaru dealer for details.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuss shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Breaking story from Alpine News Network. Firefighter Finn McHose, that's a nickname, right? Needed help contending with a blaze of debt. He called Alpine Credits and a superhero was sent his way. Summoning water, she extinguished the fire and consolidated his debt into one low monthly payment. His floors may be wet, but his debt is under control. Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
Where do you find your go-to festive favorites? At Metro, of course. Get holiday dinner essentials like frozen grade A turkey for just $1.47 per pound. But only until December 11th at your go-to Metro or online at metro.ca.
This ad isn't funny or overly clever. There's no jingle, witty banter, or talk of some sort of clearance sale. Because like heart disease and stroke, which claim a life every 5 minutes, this message is deadly serious. At Heart and Stroke, we're funding and discovering medical breakthroughs to keep you and your loved ones alive. But we need all the help we can get. Go to heartandstroke.ca today. And together, we'll beat heart disease, beat stroke, and beat as one.
Ho, ho, holy moly.
Santa, welcome to Indigo.
Heather, Indigo's chief book lover. Just who I was looking for. I need the perfect book for my young readers who loved Harry Potter. Any ideas?
Oh, yes. Impossible Creatures is the book to enthrall Potterheads.
Well, I'm happy I ran into you.
Who's next on your list, Santa?
At Indigo, we've got gifts so special, even Santa shops here.
The Government of Canada settled a class action lawsuit for $817 million concerning disability pensions for qualifying veterans, RCMP members, their estates, or relatives. To find out if you're eligible, visit veteransclaim.ca.
The Out of Town Scoreboard is brought to you by Maple Toyota. You don't have to go out of town for a great new Tundra or RAV4 gas or hybrid. Maple Toyota has them in stock and ready to deliver. Visit mapletoyota.com. Panthers 3-0 over the Sharks after 40 minutes of play. End of the first, Canadiens 2-0 over the Capitals. After 20 minutes of play, Senators and Predators are scoreless. End of the first, Avs 1-0 over Detroit. Earlier today, Utah 5-2 over the Buffalo Sabres. Bruins come back in overtime to defeat the Flyers 4-3. Jets 4-2 over the Blackhawks, and the Islanders got by the Hurricanes 4-3. Getting set to start in mere minutes, Minnesota in LA against the Kings. And later on tonight, the Blues in Edmonton against the Oilers. In our game, Pittsburgh 2. Toronto won after 20 minutes of play. Oh, yes, Guy. The second period is next on Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeart Radio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
There is real advantage for teams that know how to play in the snow. Playoff runs have to go through cold weather.
When it happens in the NFL, we're reacting to it on SiriusXM NFL Radio.
Happy for Sam Darnold. They might be the most underrated 10-win team, but it's fun to watch them.
Get closer to the game with interviews with players, coaches, and executives.
Washington's outstanding rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels.
Well, it always feels great to get a win. We got to make plays. We got to be able to finish.
Nobody covers the game like SiriusXM NFL Radio, Channel 88.
The biggest plays.
What a save!
Hits.
Oh, hard hit.
Goals.
McDavid scores!
Tune to NHL Network Radio for the most in-depth hockey talk on the planet.
He is the GM of the Minnesota Wild.
Insiders.
The revenues and the big business.
And the best analysis on the air.
Alex Ovechkin!
The NHL on SiriusXM. Hear every team and your hometown call. NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91. And on demand with the SiriusXM app.
Score!
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app. The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots and scores!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Leafs Leafs outshoot the Pittsburgh Penguins 11-6, but Grzelcyk and Rust score goals, with Marner getting his 10th of the year for Oliver, Ekman Larsson, and Matthews in the middle. And it is a 2-1 Pittsburgh lead. And we should, without further ado, wish a very, very good friend of ours a very happy 84th birthday today. Jerry Cheevers, a long-time goaltender with the Boston Bruins. I got to watch Jerry Cheevers when there was an Eastern Professional Hockey League in Sudbury and sat behind the goal while he played.
It had real stitches then.
Yes, it did. Yeah, he didn't have a mask on then. He was getting the real stitches. In fact, I think my dad stitched him up a couple times.
Yeah. Well, he had a great book.
Yes, and you've often talked about that.
As a kid, and it was called Goaltender by Jerry Cheevers, and it was done in diary form, much like Jim Bouton's Ball 4 in baseball. It was all done in diary form, and it was the year that Ken Dryden came out and beat them in the first round of the playoffs. So a year after Bobby Orr's goal, May 10th, 1970, and the thinking was, wouldn't it be great to write a book
while you went on to win the
season at the end? And Ken Dryden's Montreal Canadiens spoiled that party. One thing I admired the most about him in that book, Game 2 of that series, Beavers played the first game and won. Game 2, Eddie Johnson played. The Bruins blew a 5-1 lead in the second period and lost. Jerry Cheevers in his book never mentioned that Eddie Johnson played. He just talked about the game, and I thought, how great is that?
Yeah, good teammate.
Yep.
Played in, and you know, one of the athletes were doing that then, doing diary form, and Jerry Kramer did Run to Daylight, same idea, about the Packers winning the NFL championship and Super Bowl. As the play is underway, Leafs to the left, Penguins to the right. Marner got to the line and tried to make a bit of a move, and then found out that the linesman didn't agree with him, and the linesman is James Tobias. Jesse Marquis is the other linesman. Furman South and Wes McCauley are the officials with the armbands.
Austin Matthews or Mitch Marner were thrilled with that call. It looks like Crosby and Matthews, those lines are going to be playing head-to-head tonight. We'll give you Sidney Crosby's numbers against the Leafs all time, and did pick up an assist on the Ricardo Cal goal.
Played off a stick and down into Toronto territory. Myers got it along the boards. Then Tavares overskated it. Malkin will play it back at the net for Glass. Cody Glass trying to get it back to the point. Had to go by the defenseman Pickering all the way down into Pittsburgh territory. Leafs unable to get control of the puck, but they keep it in the offensive zone. Tavares back into the corner for Nylander. Back to the point. It'll come D to D to Myers, and he blistered a shot wide of the goal. Tipped in by Nylander. Back of the net. Nyes had to go off a skate. Tavares stepped in there to get it to the back of the goal, and now Nyes stepping out with it into the slot, and a wrist shot wired wide of the goal by Nylander. The puck comes back to the blue line. Is there a penalty coming here? I believe there is. Off on the left wing side into the slot area. Matthews bouncing puck grabbed off by Marner. Back to Matthews on the left wing half boards. Back to the point to Nylander, now to Marner. Marner doesn't shoot it, but as he tried to make a pass, Malkin's stick got in the way and touched it, and that will stop play, and the Penguins will take their first penalty of the game as the Leafs will go to the power play that is brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealers. Enjoy fall to the fullest with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive. Visit your local Subaru dealer to book a test drive today.
And Chris Letang is going to go for interference. He took down John Tavares in front of the Pittsburgh goal. Willie Nylander's got a little extra jump tonight, Joe. I always notice when he's got the afterburners on a little bit.
Penguins win the face-off and ice the puck.
Pittsburgh's actually killed off 10 of 11 in the last 5 games short-handed.
Leafs bring it through neutral ice into the zone on the left wing. Marner stood up there. The puck into the skates. controlled by Toronto. Nylander off to Marner again. Saucered back now for Tavares. Back to Marner. Marner looks to the left wing side and finds Nylander top of the circle. Back to Marner. Pushed over to Matthews. Doesn't shoot it. Matthews back to Marner. A pass off a skate. Matthews will move to keep the puck in, though. Matthews down the boards with a little stutter step. Looks to play it back. Marner one time in front. A shot by Tavares. And that was deflected over top of the goal. Penguin defenseman getting up slowly. Now to Matthews. Closing, shooting off the chest of Tristan Jarry. Back to the point. Willie with a one-timer. Scores! Marner with a little saucered pass over, and Willie Nylander one-times at home to tie the game with a power play goal.
I don't know if you can think of a power play that has looked more dominant than this one. And what I like the most about it, Joe, we saw this twice. Second time it goes in. Matthews with a one-timer from the right wing circle. Nylander with a one-timer from the left wing circle. And if they can find a way to make that a regular part of their power play, then you go back to Tampa when they had Stamkos and Kucherov, with the one-time threats on both sides, and Willie Nylander with a rocket to tie this game at 2.
17th of the season for Willie, his 7th by way of the power play. Marner has another multi-point game on the go, and the Maple Leafs have tied this game at 2s at 2:32 of the second period.
Don't you love that, though? When you've got those great shots in the face-off dots. Matthews on the right, Willie Nylander on the left, and you'd just like to see that be more of a threat on a consistent basis.
Leafs in their own zone with a pass that is cut off at the red line, played back into the Toronto zone, and Ekman Larsson goes back, plays it up on the wall, but it won't clear. Kept in at the defense, left wing side, Grizzlick closing, then the shot went deflecting off Ryan Reeves and up into the screen and out of play. A lot of Leaf jerseys in the stands at the PNC Paint Arena in downtown Pittsburgh. Always a great drive to get down there, as long as you don't have to go through Buffalo and the snow squalls. But that's an easy drive to make, and it is always well distributed with Maple Leaf attire in the stands in Pittsburgh, even in the old igloo.
I love the old igloo.
I love the old igloo. You know, I was there one night with my parents in
Frank
the 60s.
Sinatra?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sinatra. Shot deflects to the side of the goal. Scooped back to the net there by Joseph Wall. Stop me if I've told you these stories before.
Hey, who doesn't love a Frank Sinatra story? You know what's sad is we know each other that well.
I know. It's like opening another page of the phone book as it rolls to the side of the net and covered up.
Yeah, it's a little sad that we know so much about each other over the last.
So how's that size 14 shoe working for you? Yeah.
You get the new vacuum I was telling you about? It's come down to this.
It's come to this. Oh, you're right. It's come to this. Good God Almighty, help me. Face off in the Pittsburgh zone. Penguins control it. Carlson around back of the net. Got it out and down the ice. Linesman said it touched something, so there's no icing. And it's poked up on the wing, and the Leafs start out. Rink-wide pass to Morgan Riley. Fed off on the far side, and then shot into the Pittsburgh zone. Back to the point, and a shot deflects right on goal, and that was stopped by Tristan Jarry's left pad. Leafs against the boards, keeping it in. A shot by Myers went wide of the net. Riley keeps it in. Back to the net for Alex Nylander. Back to Riley. Into the corner to Nylander. Nylander holds. Still with it. Now rings the boards. Myers there. Down low, but couldn't come up with it. Pittsburgh trying to get it out, and they do. And a bouncing puck goes down to the Toronto blue line where Morgan Riley was stationed. And he'll send it back into Pittsburgh territory. Lead pass by Pettersson. right down on goaltender Wall. Game tied 2-2. Played out at center ice. Marner got it ahead. Matthews one-hands it down into the corner, steps around the defenseman to get it back of the goal. Got it in front of the net. Marner just failed to connect. Now Marner with a point shot that deflects wide. Chipped to the side of the goal. Jari was able to knock it back at the net. Matthews back to the point. Leaf buzzing again. Into the slot area. Tanev couldn't come up with it. Cleared out into the center ice area for Crosby and down into Toronto territory. Marner wheeling out of his own end. Goal and an assist thus far. Pacioretty gets tangled up, and there's going to be a penalty to Toronto.
Boy, that's two taken at center, and even though it looked like a two-man battle, Max Pacioretty, you can't beat these.
And it'll be touched by Ryan Reeves, and Max Pacioretty back into the lineup. Takes a penalty here.
And I don't.
You could read lips. I don't believe that the coach was happy about it.
Yeah, I can't say I can do it with any kind of preciseness, but there are two words when put together.
Look like that?
I'm pretty sure I know what it was. And this was just a little extra, although, Letang, give Letang credit. He went down very easily.
Penalty kill brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks.
As soon as Pacioretty got the hands up, Letang went down, and that was good enough to get the call.
Played up on the boards, not out. Penguins keep it into the near side. Big save. Batted away twice there by Wall's blocking glove. And the Leafs get it out and down the ice.
Boy, he got a piece of the first one, and it was looping up over his right shoulder when he turned and knocked it away again with his blocker.
Here's Carlson and across the line. Former Shark, former Ottawa Senator. Puck goes high in the air into the far boards. Carlson gets there again to get it around the boards to Malkin. Malkin back of the net, off on the ring, it comes back to the point to Rust. Rust to the right wing side, Carlson back to Rust. Wrist shot in front of the net, easily picked off by the Leaf defense and shot out and down the ice. Penguins quickly counter and get it back in. A deflected pass goes high into the far corner. Ekman-Larsson battles over there. Leafs are able to get it freed up and down the boards, off a stick and into the benches. They'll see which stick deflected that. I think it's going to come outside the blue line.
59 seconds left in this. So Chris Tanev, I thought it was Joseph Wall that got a piece of the one that had glanced off his shoulder and was looping towards the net. Chris Tanev might have knocked that away with a high stick as well.
Leafs get it around back of the goal, and Marner's going to skate it out. Marner got it into neutral ice, but Crosby took it away from him. Letang will play it back behind the goal. Brought out now by Grizzly. He drops it back for Crosby. Crosby hits the line, got a pass to Hayes and returned. Crosby sends it around to the far wing. Letang works down the boards, got it back to the point. Walking the line is Grizzly. Off on the wing for Crosby. Saucered back to Grizzly. Grizzly to the near side. Letang, a shot, a rebound. Knocked away, Wall down. And the puck is somewhere underneath it, but the scramble is still on. Puck is still free. One of the Leafs has lost a glove in the exchange, but it's cleared to the line, but not out. Here the Penguins with it again, and a shot. As Wall had lost his goal stick, but he's recovered that. The players picked up his glove as well. Back to the point. Near side, Letang, a shot blocked by Timmins. It comes back to the point. The penalty is over to Pacioretty. Great stand by the Leafs here. Another stop made by Wall. Down. He's got it in the blue paint.
I think that opportunity, Joe, went off both posts, as we might have a brawl starting here.
Hayes has got a hold of Ekman-Larsson. That seems to be the one that is escalating a bit. Now they separate. Pacioretty was involved.
Interesting to see if anything comes out of this, but it looked like the Penguins had an empty net to put the puck into.
Hayes hit the post on one.
And boy, is Pittsburgh going back to the power play? Is Pacioretty going back to the box? Michael Bunting was in, and Pacioretty pulled him down, and he might have sucked Pacioretty into another penalty.
Well, we'll find out when we come back. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid is here, and it may sound too good to be true. With a 2-liter 4-cylinder backed by 2 electric motors, giving a combined 200 horsepower, it's our most powerful and fuel-efficient Civic ever. Plus, with an estimated range of over 800 kilometers and available features like a Bose premium sound system, your crew will love it too. Huh, maybe it should be called the Civic 2.0. Redefine.
Hello? Hello? Hey, out there, where are you watching from? And where did Mike go? Hello? Where are you watching from on Hockey Night in Canada? I'm right here. I'm watching in Chicago, Illinois. I'm a transplant. Where are you watching from on this great Hockey Night in Canada matchup between the Pittsburgh Penguins and our Toronto Maple Leafs? Please let us know in the chat what city and province you're watching in Canada. If you're in the States, USA, give us that city and state, and all over the world, let us know what country you're watching from. And this is the best part of the night, when we get to see how many people from all over the world are hanging out together, making a difference in the Toronto community. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for participating in the chat. Now let's get back to it. Go Leafs, go! Let's finish this one strong.
Canadian, Ultra, XL, Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Well, it was Chris Letang, Joe, that did it again. As soon as he was grabbed by Match Pacioretty, he drops.
Buckle.
So, and you know what? If Ekman Larsson does the same thing when Kevin Hayes grabs him, do they call that? I mean, that's twice. A player, as soon as he's touched, drops to the ice and he gets the call. And it's the same 2 players involved. And I believe the same reaction from Craig Barube.
So the power play on for Pittsburgh. Penalty kill brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks. Max Pacioretty back in the box. Leafs win the draw. Tanev flips it out at center. Grzelcyk goes back. Grzelcyk dropping the puck back. Crosby carries through center ice, and on the right wing it goes. Back into the corner then for Raquel. Into the slot area, intercepted by the Leafs, and down the ice it'll go, and change of penalty killers coming for Toronto. Played ahead by Grzelcyk up on the right side. It bounces into the Toronto zone, into the near corner. Crosby overskated it. Nice in a Lone Ranger rush in over the line. Now trying to stretch things out. Now carries down into the corner. Now works around back of the net. Protects it nicely. Still has it. Then deflects it all the way off the boards down into the Toronto zone. Great job there by Matthew Nyes. And Timmins will play it ahead, and he gets Pontus Holmberg in. Holmberg is tripped. There's going to be a penalty here to Pittsburgh. Erik Karlsson takes the feed out, and that was a bit of a weak call too.
Karlsson does it like that, but with what they've already called, it almost looked like Holmberg stepped on his stick, didn't it?
Yeah.
As he tried to back his way in towards the front of the Pittsburgh goal.
Well, we're not seeing a replay of it as yet. We are getting the Matthew Nyes circling, and then, he stepped on the stick. Stepped on Karlsson's stick, and Karlsson's got a pretty good point, but to no avail.
And the ref's comeback is, well, when you guys fall down, they get a penalty.
Well, you just love one stat. So 4-on-4 hockey with the game tied 2-2. 53 seconds of 4-on-4. The Leafs will get an abbreviated power play. Malkin circles the Leaf goal. Works back towards the blue line. Drops it off. Working in his Pickering. Weak shot is steered wide easily there by Wall. Timmins trying to free it up, and Morgan Riley is able to skate it out. Got it ahead on the right side. Nylander in! And did that go off the post on the far side? If not, it was off the knob of the stick.
And it was just a little too high for John Tavares to get the rebound coming down the left wing side.
Timmins dropping it back for Riley. 16 seconds before the Leafs go to the power play. Timmins off a skate. Brought in then by the Leafs. Minton, and then a wrist shot by Nyes went high over top of the goal. Penguins get to it, and now will be shorthanded as they get it up on the left wing, and it's cleared out by Pickering, and then shot back in by Toronto. Penguins with it once more, and they'll send it out and down the ice. 55 seconds left in the power play for Toronto. Halfway through period number 2. We're tied at 2s. Drop pass. Nylander to Matthews. Left wing side and into the zone he comes. Banks it back to Marner. Marner to Willie on the far half boards. Works down into the corner. Centers in front and a shot right on. That was stopped. The rebound came in front. And it's cleared out and down into Toronto territory. Marner going back. Marner with a long lead pass. Tavares couldn't help him out. Played it back into the zone. And 20 seconds left here. And the Leafs will have to get some defensemen on the ice. Brought in over the line now by Nyes. Nyes to Tavares. Drop pass now for Marner. Marner to Nylander. Nylander back to the point, into the corner. Pass intercepted. O'Connor coming out. And the Leafs are without a defenseman on the ice. And no one seems to be going to the bench. Played around the boards far side. And Myers is the one defender who's able to come over the boards. Cleared right back in by Pittsburgh as the penalty has expired. Pass into the slot, a shot. Big traffic jam in front, didn't get through, and the Leafs poke it out into neutral ice.
Well, O'Connor has the only shorthanded goal in the year for the Penguins. Almost had a second there.
Off the boards now for Minton. Passed on the wing for Riley. Hit him in the skates. He had to circle back to gain possession and shoots it down into Pittsburgh territory. Penguins along the boards can't get it past Alex Nylander initially, but get it out into the center ice area now before Minton intercepts, and he springs it ahead, and Pacioretty sends it into Pittsburgh territory. Nylander after the puck. Alex couldn't get it in front of the net, and it's launched high into neutral ice. Oliver Ekman-Larsson going back to it for Toronto. Chris Tanev starts it up ice. Ahead for Minton. Minton to Nylander. Played around back of the net. Leafs coming out with it. Back to the point. Tanev to his defense partner into the left wing corner. Pass across the blue paint. No one could get a stick on it. Tanev kept it in momentarily. Penguins get it out. But the Leafs are back there in numbers, and they'll have Ekman-Larsson turning in his own zone. To Tanev on the right wing side into the zone. Alex Nylander chipping it in and peeling to the bench for change. Crosby starts back for Pittsburgh. Toe drag on a shot is stopped by Joseph Woll. Reeves gets it around the boards. Timmins trying to get it out for him. Now just launches it high and is able to clear to center ice before Pittsburgh send it back into the Toronto end. Timmins got it ahead. Left wing side. Benoit passing in front. Rebound came loose in front, and Lorenz couldn't get a shot away. Back come Pittsburgh to center with Drew O'Connor. Can't get around Myers, who stands him up nicely. Played around the boards by the Leafs and out at center to find Willie Nylander. On to Tavares. Cross the line. Tavares had it knocked off his stick. And back at the other way comes Puljujarvi. Puljujarvi spinning there. Couldn't make a play. In against the boards. It goes down into the corner. Malkin playing it around back of the net. Good hit there to take it away from Drew O'Connor. And the Leafs get it out at center, and Nyes looks to keep his head up there. Ran into a traffic jam. Benoit got a piece of one of the Penguins as he was heading to the bench. Pittsburgh back the other way with a shot. Toe save. Good save made there by Woll. Down into the corner it goes. 14 shots apiece. Woll's had a busier second period than he did in the first. And the Leafs will get the puck out into the center ice area. Tanev to the line. Rings the boards with it left wing side. Crashing in there was Pacioretty. Pacioretty gets it around the boards to Marner on the right wing. Pass back of the net now for Matthews off his skate. Defense moves up to play it back of the net for Matthews. Back to the blue line to Marner. A shot. Pacioretty was there looking to get a redirect, but it was swallowed up by Tristan Jarry and stops play. It is a 2-2 tie, the Leafs and the Penguins. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Believe your ears. The Christmas season has unofficially begun. Holly has returned. A holiday channel with Mariah, Kelly, Sabrina, and more. Turn up the merry and bright holiday hits that get the season lit. Holly, now through Christmas Day on Channel 79, or listen at home on the SiriusXM app.
24/7 Hockey Talk.
To understand that you are allowed to legally still check the head, not just the head. The head by itself is a penalty. If you wanted to change it, that would be like in the IIHF. That's probably a penalty at the Olympics. That's probably at the World Juniors. That guy's gone and suspended. I ask you, do you want that?
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91. And on your schedule with the Sirius.
Happy Hockey Night in Canada, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us and spending your Saturday night here on Toronto Sports Insider, chatting it up with the best community for the Leafs on YouTube, on the internet, anywhere in the world, right here on Toronto Sports Insider. Please take a second, hit that like button down below. Let's bring more hockey fans to the chat so that we can cheer on our Maple Leafs to get another W on Hockey Night in Canada against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Thank you for hitting that like button. Please share this link out so that we can get more friends in the chat. And let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go!
Second meeting between these two teams. The Leafs winning 4-2 back in October. Willie Nylander had a pair. And a 2-2 tie here in the second period.
Mike Sullivan, the second longest tenured coach in the NHL with a single team, only behind John Cooper in Tampa. You know, since putting their back-to-back cups, the second in 2017, they've only won one playoff series since.
Puck in along the boards, back to the point. Matthews a shot, and that was blocked by Raquel. Carried to center by Brian Rust and sent down into the Leaf end. Myers chips it along, laid to the line and out and down the ice. It won't have nearly enough to go for icing. And the Penguins have to go back to recover the puck. Pickering dropping it back for Letang. Rink wide, off a skate into Toronto territory. Leafs go around back of their goal to come up with it and bank it off the boards to center. Marner flipping it towards the front of the net. Nyes couldn't track it down. Penguins counterattack now. Achari in across the line, dropping it off there for Kevin Hayes. Hayes got it back behind the net. Tavares trying to slide past the net to get it and has played it out at center ice. Pittsburgh shoots it right back in again. Wall out of the cage. Played it into the corner, but it was cut off by the Pittsburgh forecheck. Now centering pass goes high and wide off the stick of Hayes, and down into Pittsburgh territory it'll sail. 4:44 to go second period. And it is a 2-2 tie. Pano trying to play it up the boards, but it goes off his stick up into the screen. So a face-off coming back. The Leafs do not play again until Tuesday night. And are in a 2-2 tie in Pittsburgh. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The Subaru winter has arrived. The crisp air and negative temperatures mean one thing: camping. Emerge from your icy tent and bask in 4 to 6 hours of sunlight. Enjoy the unmistakable smell of campfire.
Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. The one that's watching the hockey game with us on Hockey Night in Canada. That's right, it's our favorite night of the week. Saturday night, there's nothing better. Now, why haven't you hit that subscribe button yet? You know you love hanging out here, cheering on the Maple Leafs, hanging out during Hockey Night in Canada. Just hit that bell. Turn on that subscribe button. You're not turning on a subscribe button. You turn on the bell. And this is why we are real life here on TSI. Just hit the subscribe button, all right? Let's just go with that. And we'll see you back in the chat next time. Happy Hockey Night in Canada. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you back in there.
Legal drinking age.
Alpine News Network is here live with one of our superheroes.
People sometimes ask, sure, you can consolidate people's debts using telekinesis, but what else can you do? As if changing lives isn't enough. Well, I can also use my power to make it rain hot dogs. It's still not as cool as consolidating debts into one easy payment, though.
Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved.
Fiscal license 12616.
Toronto Marlies lost 5-4 to Laval today, but Alex Steeves, who has become a bit of a casualty because of the health situation improving at the big club, scored a goal at 11:27 of the first period today and is now the all-time AHL leader in points for the Marlies with 170 in 200 American Hockey League games for the product of the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame.
You wonder if it's just a matter of time, right?
Yeah, you hope, but it does show that it is a large step from the American League to this level. And at this point, Steeves has not really been given an opportunity to kind of really run with the ball, but you never know. But it does show you the depth in the organization. Reeves got the puck back now and gets ahead at center. He'll play it down into the left wing corner and go in there after it. Gets a hit in there against Carlson. The puck comes around the boards, back to the point. They go D to D with it, and a wrist shot is into Tristan Jarry's equipment and held, and then Reeves trying to get a hold of Marcus Peterson.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You've already taken a couple of penalties for stuff well away from your own net. So you might want to stay away from that. Tristan Jarry, by the way, getting the start goal. You remember for the longest time, until Samuel Montembeault shut out the Leafs at the start of the regular season, Tristan Jarry was the last goalie to shut the Leafs out. In the game in Toronto, this year he actually sort of finished last year on a tough note. And this year ended up being sent down to the American League, played 5 games in Wilkes-Barre. Goals against average a little over 2. He won 4 of the 5 while he was down there. And they're hoping that he can regain that form. He was always mentioned as a goaltender possibility for Team Canada, wasn't he?
Yep. Draw to the right of Jarry in the Pittsburgh zone. Matthews lost the face-off, and it's cleared high to center ice. It's a glove pass if the Leafs touch it. And now it's chipped ahead. Everybody lost patience. Now Crosby played in over the line, knocked back out by the Leafs. Penguins have to clear before shooting it in, and they do. 3:34 to play in the period. Matthews swinging out of his own end. Long left wing feed looking for Benoit, but it bounced over a stick and an odd man rush coming the other way for Pittsburgh. But Matthews got back to break it up. Matthews trying to play a puck that was high in the air, almost swatted Sidney Crosby right in the mouth. Played into the zone then by Nylander. Willie goes in there after it, but it comes free. And Raquel will get it out at center. Pass up on the left wing, brought in by Pickering. Pickering swings it along the boards, cut off by Morgan Riley of the Leafs. He's unable to make a play. Myers is able to punch it off the glass and get it into neutral territory. Penguins regrouping at their own blue line. Played ahead by Lizotte. In across the line. Bunting is going to be offside. I think that's the first time I've mentioned his name. Other than the scrums.
Well, yeah, I thought it was Bunting, not Letang, that Pacioretty took down the second time. Michael Bunting, who signed a contract leaving the Leafs to go to Carolina and then was part of the Jake Gensel trade. So Kyle Dubas brought him back.
Face off in the center ice zone. Played down into the Toronto end. Swung around the boards by the Leafs and chipped up on the wing, and it goes down to the Pittsburgh blue line. Right back into the Toronto zone. Canu against the boards, has it in his skate. Centering pass comes all the way back into the slot. Wrist shot. Wall made the save there. The puck comes bouncing out in front again off those rather lively end boards. Pittsburgh trying to play it around back of the net. Lizotte works into the near corner, back to the point. D to D with a one-timer on the far side, knocked down by the glove of Wall. And then he's able to cover it up and stops play with 1:56 to go in the period. The game tied 2-2.
For Joseph Wall, this is similar from a goaltender standpoint to the game that Anthony Stolarz had last night against Washington. Seems like everything's coming through his screen, right? Even the 2 goals that were scored that beat Wall so far in this game, you see on a nice camera view, Wall had full view of this one, but
had to come off his glove.
Had to come off his glove, but fortunately knocked it down in front of himself.
Now a scramble at the side of the net. Wall has to cover up on it again. Faceoff will be in the circle to the left.
Area the Penguins have owned the Leafs tonight, the faceoff dot. 61% of the draws have gone to Pittsburgh.
Wow, the puck squirted free in behind Wall after he thought he had it. And had to cover it up again. Draw one by Toronto. Riley, rink wide, off Nylander's stick. He carries on into the corner. Trying to get it out in front of the net. Nylander again on the backhand. Big scramble in front of the goal. And backhand again. Scramble again, and it goes into the corner. Tavares comes out of the corner with it. Tosses it back to Myers into Willie, and a shot. That was blocked, and it'll be played out into the center ice area by Cody Glass. Pittsburgh carries to the red line and shoots it in. Down the boards is Riley. Back of the net now for Myers. Played up on the right wing. Nylander just plays it into Pittsburgh territory with 1:08 to go in the period. Letang starts around back of his goal and carries out in center on the left wing. Gets a drop pass then from Raquel. Played it in front of the net. Cut off there by Marner. Marner working it with one hand, getting it out. Then Marner took down Letang rather efficiently. Puck comes back and out at center, and Pittsburgh counterattacking. In on the right side, trying to get around Ekman Larsson, a centering pass, and Marner came back nicely into the blue paint to intercept the pass and get it out at center. Now Crosby, in on the right side, had a pass go off his stick, played around back of the net. That narrowly missed the official, so it didn't get deflected right out in front of the net for a goal this time. Back to the point and a shot. Wall deflects that wide. It comes back to the left point. Kept in by Graves. Back of the net. Pushed around the boards by Ekman Larsson with 12 seconds now left in the period. Pacioretty against the boards. Got it up on the wing. Cleared to the line and out. 5 seconds left. Here's Matthews to Marner. Time's going to run out before they can do anything more, although they do get a backhand that is forced Jari to get a pad on as the horn goes to end the period. The Leafs get the lone goal. Tied at 2.
And it's Willie Nylander with a one-timing blast in the left wing circle on a Leaf power play. And it's really been night and day between this game and last night.
Oh, absolutely.
Last night was in the trenches, and this one a little more wide open. And the Leafs have found a way to battle, but as Jim Taddy and Dave Feschuk mentioned in the pregame show, worst defensive team in the NHL, the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Leafs have to try to take advantage of that.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The fantasy football season is winding down, and it's time to put up or shut up. Whether you've clinched a playoff spot or have a must-win game this weekend, get the edge you need with Fantasy Sports Radio.
What's up, insiders? All right, we're heading to the third period. Tie game. Who wants some overtime? Not me. No overtime for me. All right, look at that. We got a birthday in the house, says Northern Farm Girl. Jeff Mitterling. Happy birthday, Jeff. There you go. We got Christine. Good to see you, Christine. Thank you for hanging out with us. And we'll see. A lot of you guys are just leaving for the intermission. I know that. But to those that are tired, good night. Yeah, Brad Smith says no OT. There's Mario. Hey man, how you doing, Mario? Big shout out to the super chats. Lucius with another super chat. Thank you, Lucius. Blah, 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 blah. Lucius, thank you for the super chats tonight as well. Brandy Gale, thank you so much for the super chat. I got to update the super chat list here underneath this chat and get your guys' names back up there. All right. I am having a hard time speaking right now, but that was a decent period there by the Leafs. Good power play goal by Willie Nylander. Nice shot from the corner. What else can I say? The Leafs looked decent. The refs made a couple of horrible calls against Pacioretty. Letang was disgusting from Chris Letang, but wouldn't expect anything different from that guy. So there you go. Mark Duffney, what's up, man? I was on Boston Sam Chat today, and he was struggling with 50 likes, and I let them know you have many as 1,000 in a night, LOL. Thank you, Mark. That's awesome. I appreciate that. And I can only say thank you to this community for the likes. Thank you guys for hitting the like button and getting more hockey fans here in the chat. I mean, you see it. There's Mr. and Mrs. Cheese in the chat from Saskatchewan, Canada. Go Leafs, go. We got Rob from New Zealand in the house. There's Dwayne from Kingston. Hey, he's in the hospital. Dwayne, get better, man. Come on, get better. And there you go, Rich. What is this? There you go. Yeah, Rich, I tell you, there you got a point, man. But Lucius, you rock. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate those super chats. And I just got to say thank you to all of you guys, this and gals. This is because of you. Alexander Segal and David, thank you guys for hanging out with us. And let's have some fun in the third period. There's Sean W. in Cambridge, Ontario. Cambridge represent. We usually have a lot of people here from Cambridge in the chat. Brad Smith, we are Leafs Nation, man. And I appreciate your support here on the channel, chatting it up, commenting, all that good stuff. Edson from Brazil, I love it. Mark Daigle, Patches is playing hungry tonight. He is. And he got screwed on those two calls because Letang is a wimp. And, I mean, what was on that first one? What the hell was Patches supposed to be doing? What was he supposed to do? The guy's coming in. He's cutting him off by the boards. What's he going to do? He's going to hit him. It's hockey. Whatever. We're not going to change the game. Unfortunately, they changed it. But we're not going to change it back. But, all right, the intermission report should be coming up here shortly. Allison, I got you. Babe, I got you. Don't you go get your own wine, babe. I'm going to go upstairs right now, guys. We'll see you guys back in the chat. I got to get a glass of wine.
Marner one time in front, a shot by Tavares, and that was deflected over top of the goal. Penguin defenseman getting up slowly. Now to Matthews, closing, shooting off the chest of Tristan Jarry. Back to the point. Willie with a one-timer scores! Marner with a little saucered pass over at Willie Nylander, one times at home to tie the game with a power play goal.
And that's where we stand, tied at 2 after 40 minutes. TSN After 40 brought to you by 241 Pizza. Give yourself a high five. Buy any large traditional pizza. Get up to 3 medium one-topping pizzas for $5 each. 241pizza.com. Jim Taddy, Dave Feschuk from the Toronto Star. And Dave, that is the 5-forward power play, and boy, does it look good.
Oh, man, was that a beautiful sequence there that led to the absolute rifle of a Nylander one-timer that beats Jarry short side. You're right. Like, you know, you can quibble with it. There's, you know, you're watching a Pittsburgh team that puts 2D out on their power play an awful lot with Letang and Carlson and sometimes Grzelcyk. But for the Leafs to go 5 forwards, what it does have, if it does have an element of risk, it's just got incredible puck play, man. These guys are just tic-tac-toeing it all over the ice. And that was a case in point to make it 2-2 there early in this period.
Yeah, I mean, the key is you win the faceoff because it's in the other team's zone, and you keep it in there. The other team's going to have some major problems. They had another short power play, about 55 seconds, and it looked pretty good there, too.
Yeah, they got a couple of shots on that one, even though it was truncated. And they had, after that, the brief spell of 4-on-4 play there. So, yeah, it looks dangerous, right? And that's all you can really ask for. I mean, they came into the game. They were 1 for their previous 8 in the previous 3 games, Jim. So they haven't exactly been hitting on all cylinders, but that one was a no-doubter. And, you have to believe it bodes well for this team to get that 5-forward power play heating up because it is awfully dangerous. And if you're the opposition and you see those guys coming over the boards, that's got to give you some pause. That's got to you put the best penalty kill on alert in a big way.
I have to say, we've seen a lot of low-event games. This one is a high-event game, isn't it?
This is a fun game to watch. Like There's a lot of action. There's a lot of scrumming in front of the nets. It looks like 2 teams that are desperate to redeem themselves after they both had rough nights last night. And I guess we're going to have to go to the third period in the final 20 minutes here, and maybe some more hockey after that. Who knows? To figure out which team's going to come out more satisfied than the other one. But I wouldn't say, it's been pretty good on both sides. I don't think either coach could be particularly disappointed with their team's effort out here tonight. I think this is a pretty hard played game by 2 teams that are showing that they really need this one.
Yeah, and so the Leafs suffer from this in the first period and benefited from it in the second. There's that one end where there must be some sort of rubber repellent or something. The puck will not go in that net. Yeah. It's just crazy, the opportunities, and you don't know how it stays out, but it does.
Well, Kevin Hayes was asking himself that question on that second Pittsburgh power play where he hits the post and somehow that puck just does not go into the net, and there was a great scramble in front of the Toronto goal. But give Joseph Waugh credit. I mean, he got some help from the post. There's no doubt about it. But he was able to stabilize things, and they dodged a bullet there, but they got away with it, and you got to take your chances. But there were multiple grade A chances there for the Penguins, and Wall, with some help from the post, kept it out and kept it 2-2, which was a big victory for the Maple Leafs at that point in the game.
Well, stat sheets are good. They don't lie, but sometimes I ask myself, did you see that? So the Leafs have given the puck away 11 times. It was 6 in the first, 5 in the second. And Pittsburgh has only given the puck away 4 times, according to the stat sheet. Is that what you saw?
No, I don't. You know what? I've gone through that whole who's keeping the giveaways, who's keeping the takeaways in the NHL, and like it's not a scientific method, okay? It's people doing their best trying to keep track of them, but they're not infallible. And it's not like they go back into the video. Like now with sports betting, they go back to the video to make sure the assists and the goals are correct. And, we saw, in this game in particular, that first goal, a lot of people thought Grzelcyk had it, and they went back and realized that Raquel had tipped it. But yeah, they don't do that with shots on goal. They don't do that with giveaways and takeaways. Maybe more so with shots on goal because people are betting on that. But there's no prop bets on giveaways and takeaways, Jim, that I know of at least. And so it's not yet, exactly. But maybe that's part of the reason why those numbers are. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, there's no way that the Penguins have not given the puck away more than that. They've been pretty loose with it. I can think of a handful of them off the top of my head that would add to that total. But it is what it is. It's a tough stat to keep, and I think what you see in that particular example shows it.
So, based on the Nylander goal, which happens at 2:32, didn't you think we'd be talking about a Maple Leaf lead at this point?
Yeah, well, it certainly felt like that, didn't it?
Yeah.
It felt like they were gaining momentum, but. And you look, they had their moments. I guess. Look, the back-to-back penalties by Max Pacioretty mid-period kind of took a little bit of that steam away, right? And anytime you spend that long short-handed in a period, it's difficult to keep the momentum, whatever momentum you built out of that 5-4 power play that makes it 2-2. You lost it with those back-to-back penalties that gave Pittsburgh all that extra time with the man advantage, and look, that's fine. Like, the Maple Leafs still, they did not come out with the lead, but it was a decent period. It's been a good game so far. I think you can go back to the dressing room in the intermission and say, look, guys, one push here. Like, this Pittsburgh team is gettable. They're not a buttoned up defensive crew here. And if we make one good push here, we can come out of this with the 2 points.
Yeah, that's well said, Dave. Thanks very much. And sort of sum up that period, Nylander with the power play goal gives the Leafs some momentum, and then they have to kill off 2 penalties, which takes some air out of the Leafs, and then they get a power play back 55 seconds and gain some momentum, but they traded chances after that. So it's 2-2. Leafs and Penguins after 40 minutes of play. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeart Radio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
The 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid is here, and it may sound too good to be true. With a 2-liter 4-cylinder backed by 2 electric motors, giving a combined 200 horsepower, it's our most powerful and fuel-efficient Civic ever. Plus, with an estimated range of over 800 kilometers and available features like a Bose premium sound system, your crew will love it too. Huh, maybe it should be called the Civic 2.0. Redefine your drive with the 2025 Civic Hybrid. Visit your Ontario Honda dealer and test drive yours today.
The scrape of blades, the clash of sticks. Hockey's more than a game. It's unrelenting, never-give-up moments that make you feel alive. And so you commit to the weekly ups and downs, the long road to the playoffs. You wear your heart on your sleeve and your jersey with pride. And when you're there for your team, the NHL Shop is there for you. Check out the largest selection of official NHL gear at nhlshop.ca, a Fanatics experience.
Lately, times have been challenging, with many people facing increased interest rates, inflation, and rising credit card debt. Everyone needs a little help from time to time, but it can be hard to ask for help when it comes to your personal finances. But you're not alone. Millions of Canadians share that feeling with you. 500,000 Canadians have found help with their debt, and so can you, with Consolidated Credit Counseling.
They're going to the second round. Do you believe this? Holy Mackinac! Point taken. 2-0 Toronto. 2-on-1. Minor in over the line looking for Tavares. Scores! Mitchell Miner!
Now, thank you for finding us. Thank you for sharing out the link and bringing more hockey fans to our awesome community here on TSI. And let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go! Let's tear them up.
Game on his stick. Scores!
Changing the world, one insider at a time. We'll see you in the chat. And holy Mackinac, go Leafs, go.
Thousandth time he tells you to stop riding the clutch with a smile. Whenever your first day as a family caregiver might be, we'll be there to lighten the load. Learn how we're helping caregivers at caremakers.ca.
The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by Maple Toyota. You don't have to go out of town for a great new Tundra or RAV4 gas or hybrid. Maple Toyota has them in stock and ready to deliver. Visit mapletoyota.com. First batch of scores are all after 40 minutes of play. Canadians 2-1 over the Capitals. Senators 2-0 over Nashville. Colorado 2-1 over Detroit. End of the first, Kings 1-0 over the Wild. Earlier today, Utah 5-2 over Buffalo. Bruins 4-3 in overtime over the Flyers. Winnipeg 4-2 over Chicago. Islanders 4-3 over the Hurricanes. And the Panthers 3-1 over the Sharks. Tonight at 10 o'clock, Blues in Edmonton against the Oilers. In our game, it's tied at 2 after 40 minutes of play. Oh, yes, Guy. The third period is next on Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeart Radio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
911, what is the emergency?
Here, around the clock. True crime.
This is Dateline.
New mysteries.
A mother vanishes just before Halloween.
New cases.
The bone-chilling case of the Menendez brothers.
New twists.
There was no way he was going to let this secret get out.
Who can you trust when everything you thought you knew is turned upside down?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the third period. It's time. It's time to go get this W, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, buds. I need to see the Leafs fans in the chat. Let's go. Come on. I want to see nothing but go Leafs go in that chat, just flying down. Go Leafs go. Go, Leafs, go! Go, Leafs, go! Go, Leafs, go! Let's get behind them. Let's get loud. Mark Duffney, I see you with the wave, man. Keep it going. Andrew Hurd, I love it. Skeptically pissed. Ho, Leafs, go. All right, we'll go with go, Leafs, go on that one. All right, let's go back to the hockey. Big third period. We'll see you guys in the chat. Thank you for hitting that like button, and welcome to everybody that's new hitting that subscribe button. Let's get 3 more to get to 62 too.
They battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Ward Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, scores!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Ray Hudson here with an important announcement. You can listen to your favourite Sirius XM FC shows on the all-new Sirius XM app, now available for all subscribers.
Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it, there's a chance, Reno Caulfield shoots and scores!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Leafs and the Penguins are tied 2-2 heading to the third period. Joe Bowen along with Jim Ralph, Cameron Moore, and Jag Hang are handling the buttons here at the studio as the Maple Leafs try to end a one-game losing streak after falling to the Washington Capitals last night.
You know, last night I made the point that it was only the second time all season that the Leafs entered the third period
tied. And
this is the third time this season. Pittsburgh, by the way, it's their 7th time. They're 4-0-2 when tied into the third period. The Leafs 1-1. Not only did they lose to Washington last night, they lost in Minnesota earlier in the season, 2-1 in overtime.
Pittsburgh is the second oldest team in the league, averaging 30.08 years, and I was surprised, but the Edmonton Oilers are the oldest, 30.67.
And Corey Perry would
I
guess.
Jams that up pretty good. Well, we're underway. Leafs to the right, Penguins to the left. Swung around the boards. It'll come to the line, but Pittsburgh keeps it in. Crosby trying to drive with a shot. That was stopped by Wall on the short side. Back to the point. Carlson able to keep it in. Took a body check there from Pacioretty. The puck around the boards on the left wing side is shot wide. Pacioretty trying to tip it out. Failed. Now knocked out of midair. Nicely there by Brian Rust. And the shot went wide of the goal. Pacioretty with a long lead pass looking for Marner, but was nowhere near him. Both teams trying to get a change in here. And across the line, broken up by the Leaf defense. Carried by Nyes through center ice and shot into Pittsburgh territory. That hits the linesman and doesn't go in deep. Leafs have had a little bad luck with hitting officials, haven't they?
I was going to say, didn't hit the linesman and go to the front of the net either.
No. Myers for the Leafs got it out at center. Corralled there by Tavares. Swung in on the left wing for Morgan Riley, but out of his reach. Played by Letang around back of the net, up on the right side, and out come the Penguins with Malkin. Malkin in over the line, but dropped the puck off, and Morgan Riley is there to take it to safety, and then makes a long lead pass for Nyes. Got it over the line, got it into the corner. Fraser Minton trying to get to it, but can't, as Grzelcyk gets it up on the wing, and the Penguins break it out at center ice. Brought on now by Puljujarvi, got it in around the boards to the far side. Chipped to the line, but not out. Backhanded back in. Far side trying to corral it is Lizotte. Back to the point, a shot. That went off a body in front of the net. Likely Benoit who was there. And back around the boards for Michael Bunting. Bunting gets it back of the net for Puljujarvi. Jesse Puljujarvi trying to pull away. Had the stick of Timmins kind of wrapped up under an arm. No call. Back into the slot. No chance for Graves. That is blocked, and now the foot race is on. Alex Nylander trying to get to it with the man in front, but he can't get there in time. And that is the difference in the brothers, right? Willie would have been off to the races there, but Alex just doesn't have the foot speed that Willie has. Dewar getting it back behind the net. Played along the boards to the near side. Lorenz couldn't come up with it. Leafs have it back in center ice territory. Tanev waiting for teammates to get onside. Sent it in. Then a pass intercepted by Reeves. Reeves back into the corner for Lorenz. Lorenz was knocked down. Back on his skates. Got it back to the point. A pass in then from Riley. Deflected off Connor Dewar's stick. Dewar stepped on the puck, but now Reeves got it out in front, and he rolled it right through the blue paint. Myers will keep it in for him. It bounces to the line. Lorenz can't keep it in. It's out into the center ice area. And all three Leaf forwards, you can throw a blanket on them right in front of the Leaf bench. Finally get it spread out. And Riley will shoot it in. Leafs have changed. Jari along the boards. And now starting out with it is a long pass by Owen Pickering in for the Raquel, and a sharp angle shot deflected wide. It comes to the side of the goal. They bang away at it, and Wall finally finds it in a maze of legs. But the Leafs did a great job of making sure they boxed out. And even though they weren't really fishing for the puck, none of the Penguins were going to get to it before Wall was able to stop play.
And Mike Sullivan continues to go Crosby head on with the Austin Matthews line.
Connor Dewar got dragged to the ice without a call. Face-off won by Pittsburgh. Back to the point. Letang fakes the shot, goes back to his defense partner, and a shot was stopped by Wall as it deflects into the corner. Pacioretty didn't get it out. Back around, back of the net now for Ekman-Larsson. Fed back along, cut off by Brian Rust. Rust gets it back to Letang at the point. Weak backhand, blocked and brought out now by Matthews. Matthews will dribble it in over the line. Then it bounces back, and then Pacioretty trying to find Marner, and it didn't connect as it was blocked. Here's Crosby in on the wing with a pass, and the shot went wide of the goal. Rebound is caromed all the way out at center, and a penalty is coming to Toronto. Don't know where that was. I didn't see anything. Brought on by Malkin. Malkin to the line and in. And his pass is intercepted here by Benoit. And is it Matthews going to the penalty box?
Well, we see him jumping back over the boards. Doesn't appear to be arguing, but must have happened away from the play. As that'll give Pittsburgh now their fourth power play of the night. And high sticking is the call. Yeah, it was just when Matthews had jumped into the play and tried to flip it in. And when he tried to dance around his man, he got a stick up.
Fourth power play opportunity of the game for Pittsburgh. The Leafs have had two. The penalty kill brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks. Matthews has taken a number of minor penalties recent games that he has played in, and there goes the Lady Byng effort.
Yeah.
Draw to the right of Joseph Wall in a 2-2 tie. 15:36 to play in the third. Lorenz being forced back out of the face-off circle. They didn't get everything done correctly. They'll try again. Dewar lost the face-off. It comes back, and it'll be Lorenz pushing it out. He's got room down the left wing, and Dewar trying to get to the front of the goal, but the pass was blocked as it comes off of Erik Karlsson. Malkin back in on the left wing. A shot from an angle is blockered away by Wall, and up into the screen it went.
All right, quickly, the numbers coming into this game, and Crosby has an assist tonight. He now has 70 points in 55 career games against the Leafs.
Wow.
Kenny Malkin has 71 points now in this his 48th game.
So they must be really positive players, Mr. Ralph.
Yes. Sid is -3 and Malkin is -9.
Isn't that something? Now Bunting banks the puck back along the boards for Crosby. Malkin goes around back of the net to the far side, back to the point. Karlsson off on the left wing side for Rust. A shot deflects wide of the goal. Malkin gets it back to him. Back to the point once more. Another shot deflects wide of the Leaf goal off of Ekman-Larsson. Back around the boards, it'll come to the near side. Cody Glass trying to keep it alive. Back to the point once more. Karlsson, far side. Rust with a shot. That went off Wall and deflected wide of the goal. They'll try it again to that side. Rust closes. Down low this time to Malkin. Malkin looking back at the goal. Still with it. On the wing for Bunting. Back to the point. Rust on the far side. Another shot. Scores. Bunting. A deflection off a blocked shot. Went right to the stick of Michael Bunting, and the former Leaf has given the Penguins their third lead of the game.
Second power play goal, and Joe, all 4 penalties for the Leafs have occurred outside their own end. Accidental or not, another power play for Pittsburgh hurts the Leafs as they continue to work it around, and Connor Timmins blocked the initial pass attempt, but it went off his skate and right across the slot to Michael Bunting, who slips it into the empty net. And for Bunting, that's his 6th of the year, 4th on the power play.
So for the third time, the Penguins have built a 1-goal lead.
But senseless penalties, right?
Yep. Leafs get it out at center. Rink wide pass finds Riley into the slot area, and a shot by Nyes was blocked. The rebound was tipped wide of the goal, and now Pittsburgh will break it out. Right wing side for Lizotte. Got to the Leaf blue line, turned over there, shot back into the zone. Tavares will pressure but won't get there in time, and the Penguins get it back along the boards and now start out with it. Lizotte through center to the line. Two of the Penguins collide, right trying to straddle the blue line. Nyes tried to carry back in, but was stood up at the blue line. Raquel has the puck go off Rust on a pass and goes up into the Toronto bench area. And did that strike Nylander, or maybe not? No, Nylander collided with Nyes back of the goal on a trying to come around. So 3-2 Pittsburgh lead. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
This week on Let's Go with Bill Belichick, Max Crosby, Peter King, and me, Jim Gray.
Just 3 wins so far for the Patriots. What's your feelings?
Yeah, just haven't done enough to win very many games. It's hard to see them, going through that type of season. There's nothing I can do about it. I mean, just feel bad for a lot of those guys. It's the National Football League. It's very competitive. You got to find a way to stand up to the competition. That's a challenge for every team.
Listen to the extended version of Let's Go, now available exclusively on the all-new SiriusXM app.
The biggest plays.
What a save!
Hits.
Oh, a hard hit.
Goals.
McDavid scores!
Tune to NHL Network Radio for the most in-depth hockey talk on the planet.
He is the GM of the Minnesota Wild.
Insiders, the revenues and the big business,
and the best analysis on the...
Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. The one that's watching the hockey game with us on Hockey Night in Canada. That's right, it's our favorite night of the week. Saturday night, there's nothing better. Now, why haven't you hit that subscribe button yet? You know you love hanging out here, cheering on the Maple Leafs, hanging out during Hockey Night in Canada. Just hit that bell. Turn on that subscribe button. You're not turning on a subscribe button. You turn on the bell. And this is why we are real life here on TSI. Just hit the subscribe button, all right? Let's just go with that. And we'll see you back in the chat next time. Happy Hockey Night in Canada. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you back in there.
As we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM.
Played around the boards and pushed out at center ice by Toronto. And Tanev now circling back at his own goal. Got it up on the wing. Marner helps out by finding Matthews. Matthews across the line, left wing side. Fed into the corner for Pacioretty. Couldn't come up with it. And the Penguins, with Rust getting it out, but now has it deflected. It's gone up into the seats behind the Leaf bench. So face-off will come in the neutral zone.
I don't know if Pacioretty has found his stride yet, playing with Matthews and Marner. I wonder if maybe Craig Barube slides Matthew Nyes back into that spot.
Well, he has not been shy in making mid-game decisions and moves.
Of course, it was the Nashville game that he put Matthews and Marner back together.
Yep. Leafs control the face-off. Benoit along the boards, chopped by Holmberg into the zone. Alex Nylander after it, but can't come up with it. The puck along the boards. Timmins couldn't keep it in. Pittsburgh just lays it high to center ice. Bunting is knocked down on the play, and the puck is bounced out at center ice, and here's Alex Nylander to the line and in with Minten. Minten back to Alex Nylander, coming in front with a shot, and he fired it high over top of the goal. Centering pass doesn't work. Kept alive on the far side by Holmberg, but now the Penguins get it to the line, but not out. Leafs keep it in with a shot that's well wide of the goal. Down into the left wing corner it goes. Minten unable to get to it. Neither could Pontus Holmberg. Down the boards comes Willie Nylander. He gets through a crowd, comes to the front of the net, and he couldn't get a shot away. Blocked down on the right wing side. Here's a shot by Myers that goes wide. Riley will keep it in at the left point. Looking for an outlet, goes to Nylander. Nylander trying to work it along the boards with Malkin. Centering pass, blocked there as it comes to Riley. Centering into the goal crease area. And Tristan Jarry's got the mitt on it. And he has stopped play with a face-off coming in the Pittsburgh zone. 11:54 to go in the third period.
Did not look like Willie Nylander was latched onto pretty good. Michael Bunting, we saw him with the Leafs do it on a regular basis, but the flopping trying to draw penalties can sometimes be a little extreme, and we saw it there. I mean, it was shoulder to shoulder, and the feet go up in the air, and down he goes. Remember with the Leafs, was he not leading the league in drawn penalties?
Yes, he was at one point. Yep.
That's why.
Face off to the left in the Pittsburgh end. Draw scrum, but the Leafs come away with it. Nyes in front of the net, couldn't kick it up to his stick quickly enough to get a shot away. Now it's high in the air and volleyballed out at center ice. This will be a glove pass. And the face-off will stop play and bring it back into, I believe, the center ice area.
They'll go back. I think it was gloved out of the Pittsburgh zone.
It might have been.
Yeah, they might get a
offensive zone face-off here for Toronto, and it looks like that's the case.
11:41 to go. Leafs trailing by a goal for the third time in this game. 3-2 Pittsburgh.
Draw to the right. Won by Toronto. Near side for Riley. Got a shot in traffic, but missed the net. Right wing side, Myers. Back of the net. Nylander back of the goal. Centered in front of the net. No! Hit the goal post. Nyes had a great chance, and he rattled it off the post.
Boy, he was about 3 feet in front of the Pittsburgh net.
I don't know how he missed. Nylander regrouping. Gives the puck back to his defense as he goes to the bench. Brought out at center ice by Myers. He'll get to the red line and deposit it down into Pittsburgh territory. Reeves hustles in against the boards. Grabbing it there was Dewar. He was almost tackled there, but no call. Dewar gets it around the boards to the far side for Reeves. Reeves punches it back around the boards to the near side. Ekman-Larsson got it back behind the net. Reeves got a hit in there, but the puck comes around the boards and out and down the ice. And an offensive zone face-off for Toronto will come as a result, as Matthew Nyes can't believe that he didn't fire that into the back of the net.
It was John Tavares made a nice little pass. Actually, fortunate pass. Bounced it off Jarry. It came right out to the front of the net, and Matthew Nyes trying to go block her side on Jarry. Beats Jarry, but rattles off the inside of the post.
Matthews lost the face-off. Penguins ring the boards with it. Deflected down into Toronto territory. Morgan Riley is there to find Matthews, who drops to Timmins, who drops to Riley, who now shoots it in wide of the goal. Pickering trying to get it out. Leafs are able to keep it in. Bounced wide of the Penguin cage. Played up on the boards. To the line. Good block by Pacioretty. And then Matthews got a shot away. But Tristan Jarry came out and took the angle away and made the save and was able to cover up on it.
Shot number 20 on the night for the Leafs. Like the way they're playing. I mean, they're chipping pucks in. They're going in after them. And there's Austin Matthews. Didn't quite get all of it. He snaps it from the top of the left wing circle.
Pacioretty was upset that his stick got slashed and broken in half by Ricard Raquel, but there was no penalty call.
Well, you can't accuse officials of makeup calls tonight, huh, can you?
No, not yet. Played off the boards to center. Brought in over the line by Brian Rust. He stops up. Knocked down into the corner. And the Penguins are hollering for a penalty as Rust went down. Now back of the net, Raquel. Back to the point it comes to Grzelcyk. Grzelcyk misplays it, then is able to get to it to play it into the corner. Benoit ties this man up. Raquel can't get around into the corner, and the Leafs are breaking it out with Tavares, getting it ahead to Nylander, who circles back. Nylander, left wing feed now for Benoit. Got it to the line. Nyes is able to get it in over the line, got it into the slot, but it was spun around as Alex Nylander couldn't get to it, and Alex Nylander's taking a penalty.
Well, not a makeup call.
No, it's not. No, you're right about that. That was Wes McCauley who got that one. And it was Michael Bunting who got twisted around, wasn't it? So the Leafs to the penalty kill again for the 5th time in the game. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Ah, at last, the Subaru winter is here. It's the perfect weather for the beach. Feel the sun's rays.
Hello? Hello? Hey, out there! Where are you watching from? And where did Mike go? Hello? Where are you watching from on Hockey Night in Canada? I'm right here. I'm watching in Chicago, Illinois. I'm a transplant. Where are you watching from on this great Hockey Night in Canada matchup between the Pittsburgh Penguins and our Toronto Maple Leafs? Please let us know in the chat what city and province you're watching in Canada. If you're in the States, USA, give us that city and state, and all over the world, let us know what country you're watching from. And this is the best part of the night, when we get to see how many people from all over the world are hanging out together, making a difference in the Toronto community. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for participating in the chat. Now let's get back to it. Go Leafs, go. Let's finish this one strong.
Joe and Lucy needed a new roof and reached out to Alpine Credits. I flew over to help them with a home renovation loan. I suggested they transform their house into a giant robot head, beams that shoot from the eyes. Pew, pew. Instead, they just went with shingles. But it's pretty glorious.
Own your home? Need a loan?
All right, insiders, let's go. Thank you so much. Look at this. We've got UK in the house. Joanne, thank you for joining us from the UK. Owen Sound in the house. Carly Atkinson, thank you for joining us. So cool. Brandon in Tampa, Florida. Very cool. Mark Duffney, St. John. I love it, man. I have the St. John Maple Leafs. I remember that. That was a thing, right? I swear to God, that was a thing before. Like when I was a kid. Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, you got to call me out. Danny in the Philippines. I love it. There's Carmen in Alberta. Thank you for hanging out with us. There you go, Zoran the Barbarian from Hamilton, Ontario. Nice. Just down the road from Toronto, Hamilton. I love it. We have so many fans in the CFL chats from the Ticats and the Argos. It's so much fun. All right, let's get back to the hockey. Third period, finish strong, buds. Let's get the tie. At least get this thing back to overtime. I killed the poll because I might start a poll about doing the Blues and Oilers game tonight as well. Let's see. Maybe. I'll think about it. Cheers, everybody. See you back in the chat.
Grzelcyk couldn't keep it in. 1:04 left to play in the power play. Penguins coming out of their own end slowly. Brought by Rust to the line. He'll flip in and go after it himself. Plays it around back of the net. Chipped by the Leafs, but not past the forward glass, who gets it back to the point to Carlson. Wrist shot in traffic was stopped. Bouncing puck in the slot area. Cleared into the corner by Dewar. One-handed up the boards, but it won't clear. Kept alive at the blue line. Carlson dropping it off on the left wing side. Wrist shot coming. Block save there by Wall. And one of the Penguins got clobbered in front of the net and is slow to get up. And who was that? Cody Glass. Penguins back to center ice. Played in on the right side by Bunting. Bunting down into the corner. Played it around back of the net. 10 seconds left in the power play. Tanev couldn't get to it. Bunting gets it back to the point. Erik Karlsson with a drive. Whistled high and gloved by goaltender Joseph Wall. Did he block that, I think, with a blocker, and then managed to get the loose puck to come down to him? But
yeah, we're going to get a look at that incident where Cody Glass got knocked down in front of the Leaf net. Oh, I mean, there's another one where loses his feet rather easily, doesn't he? Now, either the Leafs are the strongest, dirtiest team in the NHL, or the Penguins aren't quite living up to their nickname for being solid on ice.
Oh, good. I like that.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
I didn't even write that down.
No, I know. Yeah, that's just right off the cuff. That's good stuff. Far side now, the Penguins keep it in. The penalty is expired. The puck goes out of play at the Leaf bench. 7:05 left to go in the third period. The Leafs are down a goal. Similar situation that befell them last night when they were trailing 2-1. And an empty net goal ended up ringing up the difference in the contest at 3-1.
Boy, the Leafs offense has just been a struggle, hasn't it? Even in the wins. It's been 2 or 3 goals.
Played down in on goal. Tristan Jarry set it aside, but Nylander almost stole it back of the goal. Played up on the wing. Morgan Riley pinched but couldn't keep it in. Now a race for the puck with Drew O'Connor, and Connor Timmins does a nice job of taking him out of the play. Riley with it again in his own zone now. Played it out at center. That went off Nylander's body. One-handed by Pacioretty deeper into Pittsburgh territory. Pacioretty has drive-by hit there on the defense, but it's brought by Rust back into the Toronto zone. Crosby sends it around the boards for far side. Tanev didn't get to it. Rust does. Rust one-hands it, one around back of the net. Dished off to Crosby. Crosby holds. Crosby back in for Rust at the side of the goal. Pittsburgh trying to eat up time here. And the puck bouncing crazily a little bit. Now it comes in front. Oh, and a big save off Crosby by goaltender Joseph Wall. Better mark that one down. A bouncing puck that just materialized on Crosby's stick right out in front of the net.
Yeah, I think this bounces off Chris Tanev's skate. Thrown from the right wing boards, off Tanev's skate, and then right onto the stick of Crosby. Crosby turns and fires. Joseph Wall just was able to squeeze the elbow and keep it out.
Leafs control the faceoff, but don't get the puck out. Centering pass and a wrist shot there taken wide of the net off the stick of O'Connor, and it's back into the center ice area. Matthews to Nyes. Matthews down poking it into the corner. Matthew Nyes goes in around back of the net. Nyes, who hit the goal post earlier with the tying goal. There's a shot that blistered wide of the net from the defense, kept in by Morgan Riley, but cut off by the Penguins. And Carlson works back into his own zone to get it up on the left wing boards, and now out. Leafs turn the puck over again, though. Brought right back in by Nyes. Nyes looking for a man in front of the goal, and it was Myers, but he couldn't get a stick on it. Marner trying to keep it in, but has it come out into the center ice area, and the Leafs bring it right back in again. Matthews down the boards, got it back to the net, a centering pass, and that was knocked away as Nyes never did get his stick on it on the centering feed by Marner. Benoit plays it in, and he'll go in after it. Jarry sent it around the boards. It'll come back of the net. Ryan Graves for Pittsburgh got it to the line. Arriving on the scene was Nylander to push it further into the zone. Pittsburgh trying to get it out, and finally do bounce it into neutral ice. Alex Nylander dropping it back, and now out come the Leafs. The two Nylander boys are on the ice. Cross the line is Willie. Got it back to the point and a shot coming. And it's taken high on the chest by Jari. And he may have had that right up underneath his chin a little bit, but is able to stop play and bring a face-off. But Matthew Nyes with the best chance the Leafs have had in the third, ringing it off the post. Toronto down a goal. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Move to the sound of a global phenomenon. Hits Uno. The planet's top trending Latin pop hits from breakout stars like Peso Pluma, Karol G, y más.
Cheers, insiders! Thank you for hanging out with us every single Toronto Maple Leafs game and having so much fun, keeping it classy in the chat, cheering on our boys in blue when they take the ice every single game. I just wanted to say I am so appreciative of every single one of you being here, every single one that has hit the like button, that has shared this link out, whether it's tonight or a night in the past, or we'll do it in the future. Thank you guys for hanging out with us and having a good time. This community is so awesome. I can't even explain it. It doesn't even get into words, but I just wanted to say thank you and pat yourself on the back, because you are the reason why this community is what it is. I couldn't do this by myself, so thank you. Now let's get back to the hockey. Go, Leafs, go. We'll see you back in there.
1,600 points, 3 Stanley Cups, and 2 Conn Smythes. Wayne and Sid. Just like, it absolutely blows your mind how good Sidney Crosby is and how much we take him for granted.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
4 minutes and 28 seconds left to play in the third period. The Leafs need a goal as they trail 3-2.
Couple of games to go. Pittsburgh gave up a late goal, actually 3 late goals to Florida before rallying to win in overtime.
Puck comes to center. Riley sends it back in. Leafs have the tag up. And the Penguins take their time with Pickering getting it out at center and deflecting it down into the drop. No, apparently it wasn't. They're going to call icing. So the Leafs catch a break here with an offensive zone faceoff.
Faceoffs again. Doing the update. Pittsburgh has won 62% of the draws. Awesome.
Yeah, John Tavares is really their only.
Yeah, he's only won 8 of 18.
Now the Leafs do win this one. Marner backhands it into the corner. Nylander on the ice with Matthews and Marner here. Puck up against the boards. Willie has it pinned there. The puck comes out in front of the net. Leafs unable to get to it. And it's pushed out at center, and now Riley waits for teammates to get onside, and Marner shoots it in for him. Round on the boards comes Ekman-Larsson, but he can't get to it. And Malkin has a partial breakaway. He's in on goal, going to the net, and that was stopped. Matthews chasing him. The puck comes in front. Oh, what a save made by Wall! Holy Mackinac! He snaps that left hand out and stops a blistering shot with 3:39 to go off the stick of Drew O'Connor.
The Leafs, everybody overskates the puck coming off the boards out towards the middle of the ice. Malkin takes off. Although Matthews was able to get back and at least disrupt Malkin's attempt on the partial breakaway, but it was the rebound that Joseph Wall made the great glove save on.
Shot goes wide of the Leaf goal. 3.5 minutes to play in the third. What a save by Wall to at least keep the Leafs in the game. Now Pacioretty got it ahead. Benoit bowls over his man to get the puck in the zone. Now the man, he got bowled over, lost his stick, manages to kick the puck to a teammate who gets it out. And Tavares goes back into his own zone.
Am I right with that? Pittsburgh seems to be falling just about every bit of body contact made. And I'm not saying they're all dives, but
and they're having difficulties. Now the referee's got a stick. Could have used that last night.
Didn't need it last
no,
night.
Actually didn't. No, he got the assist anyway. Shot high to center ice and out into the blue line area, and that'll get Ekman Larsson back. 2:45 to go. Pass intercepted, though, by Letang. And Letang loses it. Timmins had it bounce towards the front of the goal, and the Leafs are fortunate here to have numbers back and get it under control. Now Ekman Larsson will wait for teammates to change. 2:28 to go. Morgan Rielly takes the puck and gets it ahead. Pontus Holmberg took a bit of a high stick, or at least tried to sell it. It's cleared out, and maybe he did sell it. Going to be a penalty here to Pittsburgh. Well, there's your even up call, Mr. Ralph. I'm not sure if it did clip him or not, but the head snapped back, and it's going to be Rust who's going to the penalty box.
17, 2 minutes, high stick.
Yeah, and Mike Sullivan doesn't like this. But guess what? Only 5-3 in power plays now.
Yep.
Not quite as even.
And the power play brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealer. Enjoy fall to the fullest with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive. Visit your local Subaru dealer to book a test drive today.
Yeah, it was the definite head snap by Holmberg. Now, you take Joseph Wall out yet. 2:13 to go. I would say no.
Not right away, but certainly the second minute of it anyway, right? Maybe even earlier than that. Pittsburgh wins the draw, and they bank it off the boards and send it down the ice. So, good decision. Now you start to think about it. 2 minutes to go. Marner stick handling in front of his own goal. Now is going to drop the puck back, and out comes Nylander. Willie comes to center. Left wing feed for Matthews. Dropped off for Nye. Spun back to the blue line for Marner. Marner off on the far side for Tavares to the near wing for Nylander. Back to Marner. One-touch pass over to Matthews. Sends back to Marner. Marner with a wrist shot that bounced wide of the goal. Backhand, he'll get to the line but not out. Marner keeping it in. Works it down into the corner. Nylander with it. Back to Marner. Marner holds, still with it. Now to Matthews. Back to Marner. One-timer over to Willie. Willie doesn't shoot it. The extra attacker's on. Puck goes into the near boards. Nylander with it again. Down into the corner. Centering pass. Big save made by Jari. Off Tavares in front. Leafs get the rebound. Back to the point it comes. Marner with it once more. Drops for Matthews. 6 attackers on the ice for Toronto. Minute to go in the period, and it is set out at center ice. Neither Matthews nor Marner could get to it. Marner gets right back in, though, on the wing for Nyes. Dropping it back to the blue line. Nylander walks the line, fed it off to Matthews. Now to Tavares. Tavares lost the puck, trying to regain it. Shot to an empty net. Scores! Lazat stole the puck, and Matthews couldn't outfight him for it. And the Leafs are going to drop back-to-back games on consecutive nights by the slimmest of margins.
Now the penalties against are going to be the telling story in both nights, as well as the fact that the Leafs unable to score. Held to a single goal at home against Washington, and despite some big chances, including John Tavares here in the dying moments of regulation, the Leafs only managed 2 against the worst defensive team in the NHL. We were talking about that in the intermission, that every game seems to be like this, right? Where it's a dogfight right to the end. They've been fortunate in games against Chicago and Nashville that they found themselves in the right end of it. But now, through bad bounces, bad penalties, things are starting to even out for the Leafs. And with Florida winning this afternoon over the San Jose Sharks, the Panthers will regain top spot in the Atlantic Division.
Leafs' next action is in New Jersey on Tuesday night.
They had their first win of the season.
Leafs are still on the power play, so that is an empty net, shorthanded goal.
So 2 power plays and a short.
There's another one rolling to the empty net, and it's going to go in. That's going to be the second empty net, shorthanded goal. how to have your power play blow up on you in one easy lesson. Is it Letang who's going to get credit for this?
Yeah, this wasn't exactly a rocket. He was in behind the Pittsburgh net and just turned and flicked it down the ice. But Mitch Marner could not catch up to it. Not that it would have mattered with 25.4 seconds left.
5th goal of the year for Letang. And for Lizotte, that was his 6th. Final 18 seconds in the game, and Wall is back in the cage as a shot by Benoit is swallowed up by the Pittsburgh goaltender. And now we got the picture back on, so we can at least finish the game here. 12.9 seconds to play.
Penguins are shooting the Leafs 32-27, including 16-9 here in the third.
Played along the boards and down into the corner. The final seconds tick down, and this one is over. 3 third-period goals, 2 into empty nets, and the Pittsburgh Penguins win for just the 8th time on home ice and 12th time overall. And even the season series with the Maple Leafs had a game apiece, and they'll have a rubber match later in the season.
Yeah, I don't think if you're Craig Barube, you're totally distraught over the back-to-back losses or little things you could clean up. But tonight, 5 penalties, not one taken in your own end. So it wasn't about defending. They weren't, smart penalties to take away scoring opportunities. They were lazy, careless penalties, well away from the play. 4 of them were at center. 1 was in the Pittsburgh zone. And 2 of those end up costing the Leafs on the scoreboard. And then, of course, the power play unable to get things evened up late in the game, even with an extra attacker.
Period was brought to you by Molson. Whether it's Canadian Ultra, Export, or XL, there's a Molson with your name on it. Dave Feschuk joining Jim Taddy tonight with the post-game show and an invitation from us to join us when the Leafs tangle with the Devils in New Jersey on Tuesday night, 7 o'clock start. You've been listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The hot stove is heating up, and MLB Network Radio is your ultimate destination for wall-to-wall coverage of the winter meetings in Dallas.
It may be more exciting than the World Series.
Beginning Sunday, join our team of insiders and analysts as we bring you exclusive interviews and live updates straight from the heart of the action. Catch all the deals, storylines, and decisions shaping the 2025 season only on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89.
What's up, insiders? Another tough loss, back-to-back losses, but hey, it's all right. Had a good time tonight. I thought the Leafs played good tonight. I didn't get to watch the third period because I just got done now raising it. I still have lint on me. TSI Allison said, start me a load of darks. So I had to clear the lint trap, and got it all over my shirt. So I apologize for that. Like Brad Smith says, we're here for the Bills tomorrow, live, 3:25 Central. I think I'll start the stream at 3 Central, 4 Eastern. So, and there you go, Northern Farm Girl. I think we might do the Blues and the Oilers hockey night in Canada. Do a doubleheader here on TSI, but I have a very, very early morning in the morning. So we'll see. I'm going to put that stuff together here while I let the post-game run. When Jelly's highlights come up, I'll pin that in the chat. Make sure you go check out Jelly. He is unbelievable. It's like 7 to 10 minutes after the puck is picked up after the game. The final whistle goes 7 to 10 minutes later. Jelly's highlights, they're up. Sportsnet, no, you got to wait another like 8-10 minutes after that. So make sure to go subscribe when I put that link up. And thank you all for hanging out in the chat tonight. A lot of fun. Cheers to all the new insiders, and cheers to all of the old insiders. From the OGs to everywhere else that you come in and hang out with us. I started this thing a while back. It's all about you. It's all about the community. I just put it up here, and we hang out together, and it's you guys chatting it up, cheering on our buds, cheering on our Raptors. Speaking of which, I need to go check on the Raptors stream as well. All right, guys, we'll talk to you later. Go Leafs, go. We're going to get the win on Tuesday. We'll see you guys then.
Big names are on NHL Network Radio.
The Executive Director, Vice President of Hockey Operations for the NHL, Colin Campbell.
The one thing that we're wrestling right now, like when do you change a call? We talk about a listening device in the referee's ear. Do we make that next step? How more perfect can we make a game through video review and helping the officials on the ice?
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Ray Hudson here with an important announcement. You can listen to your favorite Sirius XM FC shows on the all-new Sirius XM app, now available for all subscribers.
Thanks in regulation doesn't happen often. Welcome to Leafs Game Night, the post-game show. Jim Taddy, Dave Feschuk from the Toronto Star, and Jimmy Rolfe hanging around, kind enough to do that. Ralphie, I think it's, I think you nailed a lot of it at the end of the game. Penalties kept getting in the way for the Leafs, but they just couldn't really take advantage of things, could they?
No, and like I said, I think, you could make some arguments. Craig Berube obviously wasn't thrilled. Chris Letang went down rather easily a couple of times with Pacioretty to get calls. But you take 5 of those outside of your own end. So they weren't penalties that were going to thwart goal-scoring chances for the opposition. And, every time it seemed like they started to get some momentum, they'd take another penalty and have to get on the kill. And it was one of those nights where Pittsburgh was able to cash in on 2 of them. And, then you throw in the 2 shorthanded empty netters. There's 4 special team goals, and you get 1. There's a difference in the game right there.
Well, Ralphie, that's the 5th game of the past 6 where the Leafs have surrendered more power play opportunities to their opponent than they've been able to draw themselves. And, I mean, like last night, they don't give up a power play goal against, and they were 10 for 10 in the last 3 games on the penalty kill coming into tonight. But sometimes Ralph, Tatman and I were talking about how when you take those penalties, even if you kill them, they sort of kill your momentum as a 5-on-5 unit. And we certainly saw that, I think, at times tonight. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's, you're trying to build. And the other part is then you don't get everybody involved. If you're not on the penalty kill, you'll get some guys like Willie Nylander that now you've got to sit out an extra couple of minutes or so. And I think for the most part, when you look at the goals they've given up, you can't criticize their play defensively. Even the Bunting goal tonight, Connor Timmins goes down, blocks it, but right off his skate over to Bunting, who's got an empty net. Another one is Sinai's shot with traffic in front. The one off the backboards that is one that Joseph Wall, I'm sure, wishes he was a little more alert for. But they're not giving up these glorified scoring chances and hanging on. Although Wall, off the Malkin breakaway and the follow-up play where he made a great glove save, Wall was still solid and made some big stops. But they're not regularly giving up high-danger scoring chances, and that's the positive out of all this. But if you're going to spend time short, eventually it's going to bite you, and it's those goals that are deflections because a lot of averages say that if the longer it's in your end, the more trouble you're going to be in.
How much of this, Ralphie, is it people returning to the lineup? I'm not going to glorify how everybody overachieved when they were out because that's not sustainable. But when people come in, sometimes it takes a while to get everybody back in the right spot.
Yeah, and I think you saw with, we made reference to it in the third period that you felt that it was just a matter of time before Nyes was put back with Matthews and Marner. Max Pacioretty, I like the sentiment that let's get him back. He's ready. Let's put him with Matthews and Marner. Let's get him, try to get him up to speed and some confidence right away. And yet you saw, he did take the 2 minor penalties, but the timing isn't there yet. Craig Berube talked about how he thinks Austin Matthews is getting closer, but he's not quite back to the Austin Matthews that scored 69 goals last year. So there's getting guys back into the lineup, and then you can't always expect them to pick up right where they left off, especially when it's been a 9-10 game absence. So I don't know if I would say in particular that's contributed to the lack of success in the last couple of nights. But I think it is, it does play into it where guys sometimes have to get their legs back and get their feel back and their timing, before they're considered 100%.
So, Ralphie, obviously the storyline coming into tonight, a few changes at the bottom of the lineup with Grabenkin and Nick Robertson being healthy scratched, Alex Nylander drawing back in, Max Pacioretty back in. You touched on your thoughts on Pacioretty. What did you make of Alex Nylander, and what can we expect from Pacioretty when you think going forward here as he sort of ramps it back up after being out for most of a month?
Well, first of all, I thought it might have been Alex Nylander's best game as a Leaf. I thought he was noticeable. He didn't have a lot of great high-end scoring chances, but I thought as far as making plays, I thought he was much better getting in on the forecheck and looking to dish the puck to teammates. And for Pacioretty, I think in a lot of ways he's like Matthew Knies, where he's a big body that you want to get him to the front of the net. He's great hand-eye coordination. And hopefully you find where he can use his size to help force turnovers and retrieve pucks in the offensive zone. So, in a lot of ways, I see Pacioretty and Knies similar roles, maybe similar styles in a lot of way. I think you would like to see Knies have the finish that Pacioretty has had throughout his career. But, let's face it, too. If Matthew Knies doesn't hit the goalpost and ties it up in the third period, we might be having an entirely different post-game show.
Well, and that's it. The last two nights, you're talking about slim margins. A puck goes off a referee's skate. For all intents and purposes, that's a 2-1 game. Tonight, it's a 3-2 game, and the 3-2 goal goes off Timmins and over to Bunting is wide open on a power play. There's not much to pick apart here, is there?
No, and I always go back to that quote Ron Wilson had. And I don't know, David, if you remember it, but I loved the quote at the time, and I love it now. He said, "We can't control whether we win or lose, only how well we play." And sometimes it comes down to a referee's skate or your own skate that puts the puck in a dangerous area that's going to cost you. So I think in looking at that, and I know it might sound like one of the dumbest statements in professional sports, but a lot of times if you take the goals out of the highlight package and you say, you know what, this was actually the better team. They may not have had the finish, they may not have had the bounces, but they controlled the play. I thought the first 2 or 3 minutes, Pittsburgh came out hard. The Leafs seemed to weather that storm, and it seemed every time, I know we've already talked about this, every time the Leafs started to gain some kind of momentum, they took a penalty. And it just diffused it, and Pittsburgh seemed to draw off that, especially after taking the lead for the third time.
Well, and one guy that has kind of been synonymous with not taking penalties throughout his career in Toronto is Austin Matthews, and he took his third penalty in the past 5 games tonight, which is uncharacteristic for him, Ralphie, and maybe another one of those that falls under the category of a bad break because he sort of gets a stick up inadvertently and gets whistled for it in the third period there. What do you make of that from Matthews, and what do you make of him sort of easing his way back in after his long absence?
Yeah, I think that's all part of the timing, David. he is so good with his stick and retrieving pucks and, and stealing pucks with that quick stick lift that it probably comes down to timing, and even, trying to dance around a man on a shoot-in. It's you can just be a little bit off in your timing and stick control and everything else, and I think Matthews is going through that a little bit, and I think we're going to see Matthews and Marner stick together for a while because they always seem to be dangerous every shift they're out. And give Mike Sullivan credit. He stuck with the Crosby line against Matthews and Marner all night, and in the end it pays off for them.
Still, though, you've got a power play with just over 2 minutes left, and you have the 5 forwards out there, and they've looked so good all game. And I guess what's frustrating is you're playing the worst defensive team in the league, and you can't take advantage. It's odd, isn't it?
Yeah, and I know we said it after the Nylander goal, and you saw what set up the Bunting goal was that threat of the one-timer from the left wing circle. Tampa was so good because you had Stamkos on the left wing side, Kucherov on the right wing side, and always the threat of that one-timer. Now, you see Nylander score that way in the second period, and you're going, how many more opportunities did they have in the power play like that? And, it should be a constant threat that you go one side or the other, but instead it's you pass it down low to Matthews, he waits, and he throws it back to the point. And a lot of times there's 7 or 8 passes being made to get it right back to where it started. And that's the one thing I look at and say, why can't this be a regular part? I mean, this is what built Tampa's power play. And then you had Braden Point in front in the bumper spot, like John Tavares would be. And you had Matthew Nyes providing a screen in front. And it's just sort of a curious thing how that isn't just a regular play that you go right or left, and you've got that one-time blast from either player. We saw it once from Nylander, and I'm not so sure we saw even another one-time attempt in the power play after that.
Well, I mean, the lateral movement is what breaks down the coverage. You see a lot of teams set that up. I don't know why they don't.
Yeah, and like I said, like even that's how Pittsburgh scores their the power play goal bunting. There were a couple of attempts in the one-timer. It was at Raquel, I believe, that was in the left wing circle, and it wasn't Kucherov or Stamkos or Alexander Ovechkin. You would just think that with the Leafs' skill, you would be able to set up those options a lot easier than it seems to be coming to them.
Well, if timing is everything, as you said about Matthews, Ralphie, I wonder if maybe they just, in some ways, they caught the Penguins at a tough time, because not unlike the Leafs, Mike Sullivan was very disappointed in his team last night. They also played a back-to-back and lost in an effort that their coach was not happy with. What did you make of Mike Sullivan sort of being able to get an effort out of his team, given how tough their season's been, and they were coming off a back-to-back after a dispiriting performance the night before?
Yeah, well, I mean, they had won 4 in a row before that. I did watch the Florida game, and Pittsburgh was up by 3 in the third period.
Yeah,
it was just as you're ready to switch it off, you're going, boy, Florida's coming. And Florida eventually tied it before the Penguins redeemed themselves in overtime. But I will say this. I mean, there's some players in the league, very few players in the league, I think, fit into this category. But you've got Sidney Crosby. I don't care what age he is. I don't care what his numbers are. It's going to be a team that is never going to quit. They're not going to roll over. They may not be good enough to get into the postseason, although I think with the win, they get back even with 7 or 8 in the wild card. But I think as good as Mike Sullivan is, I think as long as you've got Sidney Crosby in that dressing room, you're not going to go in there and expect to steamroll them on a nightly basis.
Ralphie, thanks for hanging around. Appreciate it.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks,
Ralphie.
5-2, the Penguins win over the Leafs, which is kind of misleading. So they have that power play with those forwards looking so good, Dave, and they end up with 2 empty net goals shorthanded. That's a little bitter pill to swallow, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is. I mean, this was a game they could have had. They, in a lot of ways, you could say they should have had, because as you point out, you're not playing the 1970s Montreal Canadiens with a murderer's row of defensemen back there. You're playing the worst defensive team in the NHL. I don't care if Sidney Crosby's out there or not. They don't have a back line that is proven to be shutdown worthy, and they don't have particularly good goaltending. But you might say that that little iron rectangle did most of the goaltending tonight, because Nyes hits the post on a point blank chance. Great feed from John Tavares there mid third period. Who else hit a post? Ekman Larson had a post tonight. I think Simone Benoit had a post.
Reeves had one too.
Yeah, Reeves had one too. There were, and I know Pittsburgh had at least one. Kevin Hayes post came to mind, and Joseph Wall had to scramble on that one.
And Wall made like 3 or 4 stupendous saves.
Wall did make some great saves. As much as he wasn't sharp out of the gate, he definitely redeemed himself later in the game, and could not be held responsible for this defeat tonight in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, this is a game you could have had. I mean, you just needed an extra push in that third period, and as it turned out, it was the Penguins who gave the push, and the Penguins who come out with a much needed 2 points.
Plenty to talk about. Pittsburgh 5, Toronto 2, the final score. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
The housing crisis in the GTA has reached a critical point, with more than 2 in 3 residents being affected.
Reporting that almost 9 million Canadians are living in food-insecure households.
Over 1 million people in the GTA now live below the poverty line.
Just out today, mental health support is the #1 reason people are calling 211 for assistance.
At United Way, we wake up to a different alarm every day. Help us end poverty and build a better GTA any way we can. Donate today at unitedwaygt.org.
Put your screen time to good use during Sell Off Vacation Cyber Week sale. Our experts have curated the best sun, USA, and cruise vacations. And right now, they're available at up to 50% off. You're just a few clicks away from turning these deals into real-life adventures and a whole lot of happy travels. Contact your local travel expert or visit
selloutvacations.com. I'm proud of my promotion.
Needs more shoes.
I earned it.
And business suits.
It is a big deal for our family.
Renovators.
I like the people I'll be working with.
Restaurants.
I still need a lot before I get started.
Car lease, hair salon, and luggage.
I know our kids are so proud of me.
Jewelry engraver.
It was my idea to put our company on the radio.
Promotion deserved. Be where anyone who needs you can meet you. Be on the radio. Your customers are already here.
Leafs Game Night, the post-game show. Jim Taddy and Dave Feschuk from the Toronto Star with you. 5-2, the Leafs defeated by the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight. So that's back-to-back consecutive losses in regulation on consecutive nights. Now, that hasn't happened this year, but they have had consecutive regulation losses in games. Columbus 6-2, and back home a couple of nights later against St. Louis 5-1. They did lose on the weekend. They were in St. Louis and Minnesota, but one was overtime. So they know where they've been in terms of that. I just, I guess it's kind of frustrating because it's almost a carryover, Dave, from last night where you could say, well, because we have the game footage in front of us, here's where it went south, but it was correctable. It was, should have gone, there were moments there where it could have gone the other way in both those games and it didn't. And, you could obviously say, they're bringing some people back and maybe that sort of upsets some things, but we're talking about slim margins here. They should be able to figure this out.
Without a doubt. I mean, that's the thing here. I mean, this is, the lack of 5-on-5 offense has been a theme all year. And, you come out here and, you get the one 5-on-5 goal tonight. You got one goal total last night against the Capitals. They've had a hard time finding ways to score. And as much as, you pointed out with Ralphie there, like they haven't given up a lot. They're not giving up chances in any real quantity. They're certainly not, they're not turning it over in transition very often like they have in the past. There's not a lot of odd man rushes coming back Joseph Wall's way tonight, and certainly Anthony Stolarz hasn't faced a lot of 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s. It just hasn't happened. So those are all good things. But yeah, there's got to be that extra, push to get it over the line in those moments where you have pressure 5-on-5, and they haven't been able to do it lately. Part of that, let's face it, part of that is the fact that their number one goal scorer, Austin Matthews, is coming back off an injury, and that's a big factor here because he's been the preeminent 5-on-5 offense generator, not only in Toronto, but in the entire National Hockey League throughout his career. That's his specialty, and it hasn't really been his specialty this year because of because of the way the injury has affected him and kept him out, frankly, for a large swath of the season. So that's one reason why, but there's others. There's no doubt about it. There's got to be others, and there's got to be other guys that step up and find ways to put pucks in the net, playing the Craig Barube North style of hockey. And I think that's something that they're still trying to perfect, and clearly, hurt them tonight.
Dave, I'm gonna really zero in on one part of this roster that has let them down. And obviously there's a lot of first year players in there, but the bottom six, I mean, they got to get some production there. These guys are zeros in the last two nights, and they need goals from these guys.
Well, especially given the stakes for the bottom six, the amount of competition that's going on down there. We talked about it in the pregame. Like, it's a lot of these guys, they're playing to contribute. They're also playing for their jobs as Maple Leafs, because they won't be here very long if they don't produce. And you're right. Like, you look at it, I mean, you can't keep. You hate to keep coming back to it, but it is the theme of the season. Like, the guys that are getting paid the most money are producing by far the most points. Like you look at their, Nylander gets a goal tonight. He's 2 off the league lead. He's having an excellent season production wise. Tavares has been excellent. Marner, obviously, we've talked about him ad nauseum about how magical he's been. And he contributes tonight with a beautiful play to score a goal, falling down on his rear end. And then Matthews, obviously, with a truncated season, has still produced. But then you start looking at it, and there's just not a lot of guys in the next category of secondary scoring, if you want to call it that. Bobby McMahon, has got 6 goals, but he's out right now. And then it really starts to drop off. Nobody other than Steven Lorentz, who has 3 goals, has more than 2. I mean, in the bottom 6, Nick Robertson, who's a goal scorer by trade, 2 goals. Now Fraser Mitten's only just got here. He's got 2 goals. That's a good sign. And then you go down the list of guys that have just not been able to contribute any offense at all, from Pontus Holmberg to, David Kampf, who's out. And it's just, it's been disappointing, to say the least, that they haven't gotten more out of that bottom 6. And until they do, you're right. It's gonna be a theme that continues to pop up, and it's going to be a call for help between now and the March 7th trade deadline if somebody in-house can't provide the help that's required.
Well, look, as you were doing that, I went through the summaries of each game this week. So that takes us back to Monday night. There's 4 games there, 4-game sample size. Fraser Mitten is the only bottom 6 forward that scored a goal this week. That's just not acceptable. And the further damage is, in a playoff series, if your bottom 6 aren't contributing with a goal here or there, a timely one, you are out.
Well, that's exactly it. And we all know the story, the stat that we've been through a million times, and that the Leafs have scored 2 or fewer goals in X number of playoff games. It's way too many, and it's a big reason why they haven't been able to advance beyond the first round more than once in this Auston Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander era. And so, that's got to change. And look, it's obviously a lot of it's going to be on the big shooters. It's going to be on the big names and the big paychecks. But you're right. Like, every good playoff team that goes deep into the Stanley Cup playoff tournament generally gets scoring beyond their stars. And that's the only way to success, because that's just the way the playoffs are. The teams concentrate so much of their defensive capital on stopping your best guys that there's opportunities there for other guys to step up. And Toronto needs to be finding those guys. And there's no time like the present, because, you're not, like, as we say, obviously the team needs it, but these guys need it individually, because a lot of them aren't going to be on this team, when it matters. If they do not, produce. Obviously, Nick Robertson, a healthy scratch tonight would be a case in point. But he's not the only one. And it's got to change. And I'm sure Craig Barube and the rest of the coaching staff is well aware of that and trying to help these guys find ways to change it.
Well, I'm going to put Minton and Gorbenkin off to the side, because they will be here at some point. But when you deal with the other players, they've been around, and it doesn't do you any good to have 8 or 9 bottom 6 forwards, because it's like the goaltending. If you have 3, you have none. You need somebody to dominate there, especially that third line center spot. Go back to when the Leafs have trouble against Boston. What are we talking about? Who's getting the goals? Well, it's the bottom 6 forwards that are making the difference. And, this has to be dealt with. I'm sure it will be. And I'll be fascinated to see how they fix it, but it has to be dealt with.
Without a doubt. Now, you need more depth down that lineup. I mean, you talk about third line center, whoever it's been, whether it's been David Kampf or Pontus Holmberg. I mean, Pontus Holmberg and David Kampf have 1 goal between them all season. Now Kamp's out right now, and Holmberg's been playing more wing lately, but it just hasn't worked out, in the way you would hope it would. It hasn't helped that, Calle Yarncroc spit out. Obviously, he's a guy, he's a proven proven offensive player that can contribute in that way. And you hate to say that, he's a linchpin here, but it would definitely help if Calle Jarnkrok was healthy, and there's a chance he will be at some point this season. I think it's expected he will be coming off that sports hernia surgery, but it's not going to be anytime soon. So they're going to have to weather the storm here without him. But yeah, Connor Dewar. No, you're not expecting Connor Dewar to provide offense necessarily. He's more of a penalty killer and a defensive presence, but he doesn't have a point. I mean, it would help, occasionally chip one in. I mean, Ryan Reeves. Ryan Reeves is out there. He's not fighting in the way we've kind of come to expect him to fight, and he doesn't have a goal. I mean, and yet again, you're not expecting lots of goals, but one here and there, a timely one, provide one when it matters, surprise us with one, and we just had, that's. Sometimes you get those games where you get surprising contributions. The Leafs haven't had a lot of those this year.
No, and in all honesty and fairness, Jarnkrok is out, Kampf is out, McMahon is out, and so is Domi. Now, all four of those guys should be in the bottom six when they're all healthy. But having said that, even with the guys that are in there tonight, when you're doing a line matchup against the Pittsburgh Penguins, I mean, that should be a difference in this game, and it wasn't.
Well, that's supposed to be it, right? That's supposed to be the beauty of this roster construction, is that you have to pick your poison as a defensive team and say, okay, well, they're going to come at us with these two top lines. We have to make sure we stop them. And if we do that, then, we're going to be leaving ourselves vulnerable the rest of the way down. Our third pairing is going to be out there against their third line or whoever else. It should, in theory, free up the guys in the bottom six to perform against weaker competition and therefore allow them to flourish. And it just hasn't worked out that way. It has at certain times in the past. It's not working out this way so far this season. And look, we're early into it. I do think a lot of this comes down, Jim, to a team really learning how to play under a new coach. I can't emphasize that enough. I've heard that from a number of people in the camps of various players. People that really pay attention to the individual guys and talking to agents and other sort of entourage members, let's call them. There's definitely that adjustment period that a lot of people keep pointing to here. And I think that's a legitimate argument. It really is night and day in a lot of ways, the way they're playing under Barube compared to the way they were playing under Sheldon Keefe. And so I think that's part of it, but it's not the only part. There's some guys that are just fighting it right now, either with lack of confidence or just bad puck luck maybe, but they've got to find a way to get out of it. Max Domi's another case in point. Now, we haven't been talking about him because he hasn't been playing, but when he does come back, it won't be long until people are pointing out that, hey, Max Domi still doesn't have a goal this season.
Yeah, he's got to score.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt. I mean, again, no one's asking these guys to become Austin Matthews, but you got to contribute now and then, and ideally you're going to do it at a point where it actually matters.
Well, and you and I've talked about this. They're in the now. So if you're in the now and there's a constant struggle with people learning how to play how the coach wants, at some point you either have to move them out and replace them with people who do that or suffer the consequences.
That's a great point. I mean, you're right. There's not this is not a developmental league, and and if it's not a developmental league, Toronto is not in a developmental moment. This is all in. We have to win. We were supposed to win yesterday and the day before, but we really have to win now. And so that's where we are. There is no time for patience when it comes to developing players at this point. There is no time for, touchy-feely stuff about how well these guys will come around. You have to make decisions about whether these guys can help you when it matters in the playoffs this season. And so that's why this is, in a lot of ways, for a lot of these players, this is a very important dress rehearsal for those playoffs. And, and look, the big guys are going to have their own demons to wrestle with when that moment comes this season. But it would help a lot if the guys on the bottom end of it contributed. And those are the guys without the pressure. Those are the guys who did not have anywhere near the expectation. And if they can't use that lack of personal pressure and lack of kind of expectation as a bit of a weapon. I'd be surprised because I think it is a weapon. Like when people aren't expecting, like there's a lot on Austin Matthews when the playoffs roll around. There's a lot on Mitch Marner when the playoffs roll around. There's a lot on William Nylander when the playoffs roll around. And you can say that for John Tavares and Morgan Riley, the guys who've been here the longest. But there's not a lot on the rest of these guys. There's not a lot on Pontus Holmberg. There's not a lot on David Kampf. There's not a lot on Max Domi. At least not in the same way. They don't.
You're right.
And so I do think that should help those guys. God knows the Maple Leafs spend money on sports psychology. Let's hope they can get that message through.
Okay, one piece of sound post-game before we break. Mitch Marner on what made the difference tonight.
All these, clearly. Got to be better, got to be smarter.
How much is Craig talking to you guys about limiting the minors?
Yeah, I mean, it's big talk right now, so got to try to do it.
What did you make of the look with Max Pacioretty on your lines?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought we were moving our feet well, created ozone time, made some good plays around the net and throughout the zones.
You seem pretty physical in the lines, like on that line as well. Did you notice that there was like maybe a bit more edge to this game, it seemed like, on both sides?
Maybe. I don't know. We just want to go out there and get on the forecheck quickly, and so we did a good job on that.
How concerned are you with the lack of secondary scoring that went on last night?
Not worried. Like we talked about before, man, we're missing still a lot of guys. It's a tough league. I thought these young guys have done a great job of moving their feet, getting up the ice, creating offense. But like I've spoken about before, it's tough to score. They're doing their best, and it will come. So, my thing to them is just stay patient with it. Don't force anything. Let it come. A lot of skill that they have, and they'll create.
Bunch of posts in this is, I guess, it shows you how close, I guess, it can be from winning and losing in this type of situation.
Yeah, definitely. Nice there at the end. I think it double post. So that's the way it goes sometimes. Bounces don't go your way. Just got to clean the slate. We got to clean up the penalties. Be ready for New Jersey.
Considering how busy the schedule's been lately, how nice it is to have a day off with the guys in New York and stuff.
Yeah, it's great. A day to just relax and enjoy yourself, and just try to have some fun with each other. So that'll be the goal at mind, and that we'll focus on.
So, day off tomorrow. Pittsburgh wins at 5-2 tonight. This is Leafs Game Night, the post-game show on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
There is real advantage for teams that know how to play in the snow. Playoff runs have to go through cold weather.
When it happens in the NFL, we're reacting to it on Sirius XM NFL Radio.
Happy for Sam Darnold. They might be the most underrated 10-win team, but it's fun to watch them.
Get closer to the game with interviews with players, coaches, and executives.
Washington's outstanding rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels.
Well, it always feels great to get a win. We got to make plays. We got to be able to finish.
Nobody covers the game like Sirius XM NFL Radio, Channel 88.
The biggest plays.
What a save!
Hits.
Hard hit.
Goals.
McDavid scores!
Tune to NHL Network Radio for the most in-depth hockey talk on the planet.
He is the GM of the Minnesota Wild.
Insiders. The revenues and the big business.
And the best analysis on the air.
Alex Ovechkin!
The NHL on Sirius XM. Hear every team and your hometown call. NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91. And on demand with the Sirius XM app. Score! The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start! They're going to the second round. Do you believe this? Holy Mackinac! Point taken. 2-0 Toronto. 2-on-1. Marner in over the line looking for Tavares. Scores!
Thank you for finding us. Thank you for sharing out the link and bringing more hockey fans to our awesome community here here on TSI, and let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go! Let's tear them up!
Game on his stick!
Changing the world, one insider at a time. We'll see you in the chat. And holy Mackinac, go Leafs, go.
At the end of the game there, 6-on-4, we gotta come up with a better play there, and a little more urgency on that play, in my opinion.
Max was talking about the emotions he felt in this game. He takes a couple of penalties. What did you see from him?
Yeah, a little aggressive at times, just hasn't played in a while, wants to be physical, wants to do what he does, and we just went to the box too much in general 5 times. That's good players over there.
Why did you decide to start him with Matthews and Marner?
I just felt like he was going to be a heavy player for him down low in the offensive zone, and they ended up getting a goal out of it. And I thought Max did a good job tonight with them guys. Thought kind of maybe died off later on in the game. Hasn't played in a while.
Changed up the look on PK a little bit. Like a little bit less Matthews. You had Dewar up there with.
Well, they were. That's just because of back-to-back games, ice time. They were gassed a few times. When we had the kill, so I started some other guys.
You were saying before the game wanted to see more extended ozone shifts. It seemed like he got.
Yeah, I thought we were really good tonight in the offensive zone. I thought we, played our game, forechecked well. We had good ozone time and opportunities, and so I was happy with a lot of the game. There's things we can always clean up, right? But I like the effort to compete was really good. Guys were skating and working, so a lot of good things. But we got to clean up a few things and be better.
Top end guys getting on the board pretty regularly, but how concerned are you that there isn't more of a second wave?
Well, yeah, for sure. We need some guys to contribute down in the bottom 6 for sure. Got to find a way to manufacture some goals from those guys for sure. I agree.
That said, what did you make of Matthew Nye's game? He had some posts and he also had a PK kill.
I thought he got better as the game went along, to be honest with you. I think, coming back from his injury, he's been okay, a little tentative, I think, but I thought tonight he kind of broke through that a little bit and had some opportunities and was physical again, so it was good to see that.
What should Nick Robertson take away from the fact that
he's just got to play better? That's it. We all know that, and I talked to Nick today about it, and we'll figure it out. It's my job to help him and the coaching staff, and it's his job to find a way to play better hockey. Then he's capable of it. He's got ability, speed. He's got a good shot, and we got to find a way to get him going.
Coach Barube, so secondary scoring, not just the bottom 6 forwards, but from the blue line also, Dave.
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt, and look, it's that's been a long-standing kind of wish list for Maple Leafs coach, right? Like Sheldon Keefe used to talk about that too, about how it would be nice to get a little more scoring off the back end, and it just hasn't happened for them. Now, part of that this year, I think, is personnel. Chris Tanev is not going to get you a lot of points. Oliver Ekman-Larsson maybe a little more so, but he's getting later into his career here. Morgan Riley's having a decent offensive season, 15 points in 25 games. Not you can't really complain about that. But yeah. I think this is more about the bottom 6 forwards and somebody or somebody's plural finding ways to step in there, and it just hasn't happened so far. But Craig Berube is aware of the problem, and you got to think they're going to spend a considerable amount of time trying to free these guys up to contribute more than they have to this point, because it hasn't been anywhere near enough.
Well, and sometimes the eye test tells you more than the charts and all the stats. And he said it, you said it right away. The penalties got in their way tonight. There's no question about that. It just seemed to drive them down the wrong road when they were just about to do something. They get whistled and it caused them to reset. And at the end, for whatever reason, and he talked about it, they had the 6-on-5 and then the 6-on-4. They had the final 2 minutes almost on a power play, and they just, for whatever reason, they did not execute properly.
No, that was disappointing for sure, because it's considering how good they were, in the one power play goal they scored, the beautiful one-timer by Willie Nylander with the 5-forward outlook there. That was a disappointing end of the game for sure. But to the point of the penalties, like it is kind of a disturbing trend, and you don't want to make too much of it, because the whistle can go both ways, and the whistle is a fickle thing. We all know that. But in these last 6 games, Jim, and they're 3-3 now after losing tonight, they've given up more power play opportunities than they've had in 5 or 6 of them. And just looking at the totals, they've taken 23 penalties and given up 14. Or certainly, they've given up 23 power play opportunities while only getting 14 in these past 6 games. And I think today the number was they gave Pittsburgh 5 power play opportunities and they only got 3. So that's not a good equation. If you're giving way more than you're getting when it comes to power play opportunities, it doesn't matter how good your power play is. Like your power play can't be good enough to win that battle, right? And so. Yeah. And their power play has been pretty good lately, but if you just give the other team that many more, you're going to be in trouble. And it's not only just the special teams numbers, as we were pointing out with Ralphie. I think it saps momentum, right? It saps your momentum. Well, yeah. Even if you get the kill, it saps your 5-on-5 momentum. And then we start wondering, well, why aren't they scoring 5-on-5? Well, part of it is because they're not playing like 4 lines 5-on-5 for sustained runs. They're having to interrupt those runs with too much special teams play.
Well, you can't control the game if you're playing with a deficit, and that's really what they're giving away. There is they're not allowed to. They're taking their ability away to play their own game. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it, and it's not to their advantage, right? It really isn't to their advantage. Now, I think some of that. Look, their penalty differential for the season really isn't that bad, so it could just be an unlucky spell here where they're getting the wrong end of the whistle. Something gets called that maybe doesn't get called 5 times out of 10. I understand those things happen, and certainly you don't want to make too much of it. But, tonight was there were some lazy penalties out there that didn't need to be taken. And, look, Pacioretty took 2 of them, and you had to give him some leash, and Barube was pretty forgiving there to say, look, it's his first game back after missing most of a month. He was trying to be aggressive. It got the best of him. He took 2 straight roughing penalties, and it did sap the 5-on-5 momentum there, because the Leafs had tied that game up early in the second period there, and then Pacioretty took those back-to-back penalties, and whatever momentum they had there was pretty much kaput. And so, it hurt them, but you got to believe they can turn that one around. Well, and you look at the injury list, so McMahon, Domi, and Camp should all be back sometime within the next 2 weeks, I would believe. Yarncroke probably in 2025. But when they get those 3 guys back, I always say this, depth is great until you have to rely on it on a nightly basis. So, I mean, you need those guys back in there, and then you can decide whether it's good enough. But until that happens, they're just really playing on borrowed time. Yeah, you're right. I mean, we always make too much of a team weathering absences over a relatively short period. It's, you have to do it over a longer period, and you sort of see the cracks, right? And we're starting to see some of the cracks. There's no doubt about it. And certainly the depth scoring is certainly one of them, or lack thereof is certainly one of them. But yeah, look, that'll be a really welcome sort of wave of returnees, let's say, when those guys start coming back into the lineup. Like Bobby McMahon, is obviously a key guy when it comes to additional scoring, whether you want to call it bottom 6, top 6. He may well be in the top 6, but he is another weapon that you're missing right now, and really could, a weapon that could turn a game like this, right? Like, that's all you need is tonight. All you needed was
one timely goal. Really.
That's right. One.
You needed one timely goal, and the whole outlook of the evening changes, and certainly the team that gets the 2 points could have changed.
Dave, thanks very much, and look forward to our conversation on Leafs Guy at 12:30 on Monday.
Looking forward to it, Tad, man. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you very much. Pittsburgh 5, the Leafs 2. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
You've been listening to NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM. Head over to SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, for the best hockey talk.
All live in because we're all criticized and compared to more and faster. And with that, you need to balance that with support. And I think, lots of coaches that have gone, that I watch around the league in the NHL, there's a lot of great coaches and a lot of good young coaches that are really good at that. The X's and O's, I say to people, are easy now. When the X's and O's are a very simple part of hockey. It's connecting with people and getting people motivated and excited. And that's changed dramatically. X's and O's became big when video hit the computer. You could watch 100 or 1,000 forechecks over and over and over and say, okay, these are the key components on a forecheck. And so, you didn't have to be in the NHL to become better at that. So that's the easy part. I just can't imagine doing this or that I did it. I called Brian Matthews one time in Austin's U17 year. And I said, Brian, do you have any idea how good your son is? And his reply was no. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you, what is this conversation? And I had to explain to him, and I said, I think this is what's going to happen, Austin. I said, you honestly have to prepare for your life to become very chaotic and crazy. And lo and behold, he gets drafted in Toronto instead of, some different market. And we know how crazy it can be here.
Oh, yeah.
But, and then the last thing I'll say on it is I remember leading up to the draft, lots of people said, can he handle Toronto? And I thought, absolutely, no problem. And the biggest thing for me is when a young player comes in the league, and we talked about earlier, if they're a -2 or -3 and they have a really tough night, you get to know how they're going to respond. And some that breaks their confidence, and maybe they need a stint in the AHL. You got to get them out of the pressure. Mm-hmm. But Austin was so good that if that happened, and when it's happened in his career, it doesn't hurt his confidence. He knows that he's in that category of player that I know I can redeem myself just get me to the next game now. And they can do, the best players can do that. And that's a different echelon of player at the NHL level that can do that. So if you look at the top players in the NHL, their confidence is not going to break. The guys right under that, they have a bad night. They may not want that next game.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Saturday, December the 7th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 1 p.m., Boston Bruins take on the Philadelphia Flyers. Bruins on SiriusXM channels 91, Internet 921, Flyers on Internet 940. 1 p.m., Buffalo Sabres take on the Utah Hockey Club. Sabres on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 922, Utah on Internet 947. 4 p.m., Chicago Blackhawks take on the Winnipeg Jets. Blackhawks on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 925, Jets on Internet 951. 5 p.m., New York Islanders take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Islanders on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 937, Hurricanes on Internet 924. 6 p.m., Florida Panthers face the San Jose Sharks. Panthers on Sirius 209, XM 220, and Internet 931, Sharks on Internet 942. 7 p.m., Pittsburgh Penguins face the Toronto Maple Leafs. Penguins on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 941, Leafs on Internet 946. 7 p.m., Detroit Red Wings face the Colorado Avalanche. Red Wings on XM 223, Internet 929, Avalanche on Internet 926. 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius 210, XM 221, and Internet 934, Capitals on Internet 950. 8 p.m., Ottawa Senators face the Nashville Predators. Senators on Sirius 211, XM 222, and Internet 939, Predators on Internet 935. 8 p.m., LA Kings face the Minnesota Wild. Kings on Sirius 208 XM 219 and Internet 932, Wild on Internet 933. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers face the St. Louis Blues. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 930, Blues on Internet 944. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Saturday, December the 7th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates.
SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio is the place for expert advice.